if I put Sue's on, I won't be able to see.
So it looks like Colleen Jones' team ended up with hammer for the draw to the button, and in that first end, we're underway.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, Pam, I think if the rules are the same as when I used to play, by virtue of Colleen's record, which was clearly a better record than Jill's, she's awarded hammer. And I'm pretty sure she would also get the choice of color if her record is clearing out ahead of Jill's, which it is. I believe Jill ended up with 3 losses and Colleen just the 1. So she would get hammer and color. She'd be real happy with that. We always used to think that was a positive thing for sure. So they didn't have to bother with the draw. They go through their whole pregame practice, but they didn't have to bother with the 2 draws to the buttons and all the measurements and everything. So
I've never watched a semifinal or a final for this event, so I wasn't sure. But
is that right? Yeah. So these 2 teams are really familiar with each other. Jill has been just a real presence in ladies curling in Nova Scotia for a good long time, and all the girls on her team are so competent. Of course, Miss Erin Carmody has come over from PEI to be one of us in Nova Scotia here. And then, of course, Colleen Jones. It's a name that is synonymous with curling, and she and Kim Kelly are still playing with 20-somethings. Pam, I don't get it myself. I'm happy to play seniors with them, but I'm not interested in competing with the youngins anymore, but they still get so much out of it. And the front end that they have in Julia Coulter and Sheena Moore, they're just having a ball. Like, they're enjoying their practice, they're enjoying their preparation, and Kim, of course, is throwing hammer now. She did it last year and this year, which I think is a fun addition, for both she and Colleen. And I think Colleen's enjoying the mentoring that's coming along with that. So
a little change to the flavor for sure. And
without a doubt, yeah.
And you see that not often, but a few different teams will have their back end will stay with the seasoned group and bring on some younger muscle on the front end.
Right on. And I can guarantee you that Sheena and Julia are just absorbing so much knowledge. Like, it's just something you can't explain until you're in the middle of it. And in the middle of Colleen Jones' playbooks and mindset and preparation is a priceless opportunity, in my opinion. So I think they're enjoying it.
And they've played really well all week. While commentating, I've peeked over at a few of their games. I haven't commentated any of their games this week, but they've certainly had a great game the other day against Jill Brothers.
Yeah, indeed. I did see that game. I didn't see the earlier games. I've been out of town. I got back on Thursday, but of course I'm always very observant of the leads play, and Miss Julia Coulter was outstanding in that game against Jill Brothers, and the team they love their lead when they play well. I can tell you, it makes it just easier on everybody. So, and then Sheena played great, and Kim and Colleen played great too. But the word on the street, at least in and around the club, is that this team has been playing extraordinary all week.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think it doesn't matter what lead you have. I think with the 5-rock rule, the importance of that first couple of shots is even more than it used to be.
Without a doubt. You mean at lead's position?
Absolutely, yeah.
For sure. And I've said this, I've done it, I think this is my 3rd broadcast, so I'm probably going to repeat some of the things that I've said before. But as a lead, I've always said I can't win a game for my team. There's nothing I can do with my shots that can, sort of guarantee a win or really win the game for us. But I can sure as heck lose it, and have done so. With a particular shot. I'll never forget it.
Oh, dear.
I'm not going to go into it, but your rock placement can create such a situation in any end, but especially in sort of the late ends, where your team ends up not being able to score or whatever. So, as a lead, I always have taken great pride in my position, and I hope that other leads out there do the same. There's a lot of value in being a quality player at lead, for sure. Well, Kim and Colleen are going to be real happy with this opening end. Pam, it's it's kind of a stretch and throw, get your bearings, get the youngins into their semifinal, their first. Sheena has great experience. I believe she's already been to 2 Scotties, I'm pretty sure. And Julie is certainly not Scotties, but she has junior experience. So this is a big game for those guys. Overall, I think Colleen would be real happy with a wide open end. Everybody gets their sea legs.
And it's a long game.
And it's a long game.
10 ends, it doesn't hurt to
Indeed.
take an easy one and get warmed up. And
and
jitters
hopefully
worked
hold
out.
on to hammer, which it's one more end that if they can hold on to hammer, so they have to make the blank here, that it sort of robs the other team of another end with the hammer.
Yes.
So,
yeah, very good point.
yeah.
So this is Colleen's second. And interestingly enough, it looks like the Stevens-Thompson game beside us on sheet D is opting for the open end as well.
And so really, Jill was the dictator of this. I didn't see the call, her very first rock, but I think she did call it in the rings, and that dictated the... And she would know what Colleen would do with that. There's no chance that Colleen's going to throw a corner guard in the first end on the first rock. So Jill knew full well when she came into the rings that this would be the complexion of the first end. So,
and I would think over the course of this season, these two teams have met quite a few times.
Yeah, I think they probably have. I know Colleen and Kim didn't play an extraordinary amount, but I think they played 4 or 5 spiels for sure.
And it's a relatively short season, finishing up now for the team that doesn't move forward to the national level.
So true.
So 4 or 5 spiels that's plenty.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's nothing like the big teams do, though, Pam. I mean, and oftentimes there's sort of, I think Mayflower has ice even in August now, don't they?
This year it was a little later. I think it was mid-September before we put it in.
Yeah.
But you can get Moncton, up in Moncton, I think they keep it in almost year-round.
Right. I think Marianne does a camp up there in August, so yeah. Or a clinic of some sort. So we get to see my good friend Kim Kelly throw the her first stone of the first end. She's been really enjoying learning this 4th rock throwing thing. This is the 2nd year at it for her. She does it with our seniors team as well last year. And it's just fun to watch her learn. And Kim loves to practice and loves to train. And she is one fit chick, I'll tell you.
Well, you can see that when she's sweeping.
Yeah.
Just extraordinary form and really puts the effort in.
Yeah, I don't think, talk about playing with the 20-somethings. The younger ones, I would challenge Kim's sweeping, the quality of Kim's sweeping to anybody here in this province. Females, yeah. And she's very well respected, both for throwing and for sweeping and for just general sort of coaching, sports psychology. She was actually Joe Brothers won the Scotties out of Nova Scotia last year.
Right.
And Kim was actually her 5th.
Right, I remember that.
They invited her to be their 5th. Now, up until this year, the Scotties the Scotties National has conflicted with our senior provincial. So it's been troublesome for someone to do both. So Kim actually played provincial seniors with us on a weekend that the Scotties started and had to hightail it up to Sydney. I think she didn't get there till Tuesday. So we were part of the lobbying effort to try to get that changed for all kinds of reasons. I mean, someone like Kim with her experience and her continued talent should be able to go as a 5th.
Absolutely.
To a team. I mean, and even any teams that have had that are, now sort of older and maybe not even competing anymore at the Scotties, they should be able to play seniors and also coach or be a 5th player for a team that does come out of Nova Scotia. So I'm really happy that they've changed.
I mean, it's limiting a resource. Curling is a small community, and to limit that resource is not a good idea.
Yeah, so that's changed now. So, and that was another reason that, like Marianne, Kim, and Colleen and I are all playing seniors together this year. And Marianne was never able to play with us, even though she turned 50 a couple summers ago. because it was always a conflict. And her priority was clearly still on Scotties and not seniors. So anyway, that's the first end in the books.
That's
what
a
you see
blank.
is what you get there.
It was a nice, clean, blanked end. Both teams
Yeah.
would have to be pleased with that. No mistakes made
Absolutely,
on anybody's
yeah.
behalf. And I think you'll see it mix up a little more as we get moving here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Jill's not known to be super aggressive, but she's the one that's going to have to. We used to say when we played back however many years ago, we would go, okay, they call, we answer. Like we were never too much of, and especially if you start out with hammer, it's really the other team that's got to call. You know,
Right.
they've got to ring the bell or, push the button to get going on the offense. So we'll see. I didn't notice what Jill's call here was. We could probably interpret based on the way they sweep it, whether she wants it in or out front.
I didn't see the tap, but it looks like she's going.
Looks like she's looking for out front.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the Deloitte seems to
Yeah.
be the popular place this week
Yeah.
for the tight center
Yes,
guard.
right on.
Sweepers seem to like this. They're just giving it a little brush now towards the end.
Yes, strong sweeping. Erin Carmody is a very strong sweeper. I think it's probably one of the reasons they've got her. She doesn't hold the broom for Jill, even though she throws third.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sarah Rhino, who was Sarah Rhino. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah's now Sarah Murphy. But she had a reputation as a junior curler as Sarah Rhino and skipped for years and years and years. She and Jen Bryan have played together for a long, long time.
Right.
Anyway, Sarah is in the house.
And you know what
Provided.
that's like. You
Yeah,
used
I
to be
do.
in the
Yeah,
house
that's what we. And I
Kim
can
would
tell
be
you that was one of the
sweeping.
main reasons. Again,
Sure.
back to sweeping. It was you're going to put Kim in the house, holding the
No.
broom, no, and have me sweep. Oh, that's not a good idea. So that was one of the big reasons we did that was that we could use our resources wisely. And Kim by far was the best sweeper. So game on here.
Looking for the come around.
It is just a perfect
looks
shot.
great.
Julia has been so impressive to me.
And right just about kissing the pin, I think.
Yeah. Pretty darn good. I mean, you might want it 6 inches higher, but at this point in the game, that's a 4 out of 4 shot for sure. 100%. We don't have stats being done here at all, and honestly, you'd not want me to start trying to do it, but and they don't really tell the tale. Like we're going to be able
No.
to get a pretty good feel of how the players match up against each other.
And I know for juniors, I use a wonderful program that generates stats,
Okay.
but it's very harsh.
Yeah. Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
sometimes you think, well, that was a great plan
Right
B, and we
on.
always knew it was
Right on.
there.
Yeah.
Should you really get a 0?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's man-to-man defense right now. Julie knows she had a great shot. That's a good shot by Jen. I mean, that's way better than coming in, kissing off the blue, rolling open. She was looking for the freeze, but that was a great shot. We never, as a team, paid any attention to statistics, and they
Right.
were done for us when we were at the Scotties. We never looked at them. They were not part of our analysis at all. Sometimes the fifth would look at them to see certain tendencies of the other team,
Right.
whether they were throwing
Sure.
in turns or out turns. But as a team, in our years,
It's just a tad heavy here.
it
I
just
think.
needs to simmer down. She's going to the open side here. Love the call. She wanted that behind the tee line, but obviously not through the rings. Mm-hmm. And the reason she would want that behind the tee line is they don't want to hit and roll into the button or hit and roll in for the freeze or even make the double. So Colleen would have wanted that back 8, but...
And then it really makes the brothers team decide if they had
exactly.
to make a play on it. That's
exactly.
It's
Do
a
you hit
neat
the open
idea.
one or are you going to go into the button? So unfortunate miss, but this is the time in the end where you've been given an opening. So
So Sarah Murphy is looking to drop one right in on top of the blue, I think.
yeah, it looks perfect.
Oh, looks like a
Gotta
well-played
bounce a
shot.
little bit.
Little bounce.
Little bounce.
That looks like it's mostly open.
Mostly open, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so early in the end, Pam. Like I can see Colleen playing this. I love this call. there's going to be lots of time to get rid of that other yellow one. And if you would never want to make a shot for them, by
Right, bumping your own.
yeah. And if you ever just touch, I love this call, and I think that over the long run, over a lot of ends and a lot of games and a lot of competitions, if you've got, this is a great strategy. It's going to give you the best opportunity with the highest margin of making a shot.
Right.
So I love the call.
And it's a setup. I mean, as you said, it's still very early in the
Indeed.
end, and now
Yeah.
the house is wide open
Yeah.
to play with. With a little tight guard over there,
Yeah,
off to the edge,
it
but
is
still.
for sure. So the winner of this goes on to play Marianne Arsenault and company tomorrow afternoon, I believe at 2. We looked that up, Pam. I think it was
think
2
it's
o'clock tomorrow.
2 or 2:30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe 2:30.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So she's sitting back waiting. I wonder what sheet that's on, because if that was on this sheet, she would sure as heck be watching this right now too.
I would think the final will be on the Scotties sheet, if you know what I mean. I would think it would be on
Actually,
the D
that's
sheet.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm even surprised it's not
Right on,
tonight,
yeah.
but because the Deloitte sheet would be for the boys.
Well, you know
in
what? The
morning.
reason that it wouldn't be tonight, Pam, is they wouldn't want the
Advantage.
team playing back-to-back
Yeah.
games. Yeah. And Marianne wouldn't want that either, to have whoever the winner was just coming off the same sheet that they'd be going out on. Super shot by Sheena.
Mm-hmm.
And rolling to the wing, which also just takes the play all the way out of the 4-foot. Little harder to hit and stick over here. If you ever got a rollout, then all of a sudden, what didn't look like a usable corner guard could all of a sudden come into play for sure.
And this is Erin Carmody coming out with her first.
Well, and I've got I can't see Erin without thinking about, I don't know if you remember, Pam, a few years back. I don't know, a few years to me can be anything from 3 to 10. I don't know much of it. But she was in the final of the Scotties from PEI. Kathy O'Rourke skipped the team, and Erin threw hammer, and she played Jennifer Jones in the final, really had control of the game. And Kathy O'Rourke had mentored her all week and called the game. And she just narrowly lost the final of the Scotties tournament.
Wow.
A heart throwing 4th rock. So that's our Erin Carmody now, playing 3rd for Jill Brothers. I don't know.
Wonderful
what
to
year
have
it
that
was.
experience on your team.
Pardon me?
Wonderful to have that kind of experience on the team.
Yeah. And again, I haven't seen a lot of games this week, but she's been noticeably impressive as well. I've seen her making a lot of run backs and just showing some great accuracy. She's been noticeable to me.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, this is as wide open curling as I've seen of the few games that I have seen.
And some teams that do tend to play more open than others, even with the 5-rock rule.
Without a doubt. And, Colleen certainly is known for that. And Jill would not be one of the more aggressive skips. Of course, I grew up, I was well schooled and trained in fairly defensive strategies. And can't knock it. It kind of worked well.
It kind of worked well. And if you're very good at it, as it's very hard to generate.
Well, and
much.
I mean, for us, it was all about making sure we won our games. We never walked away with games. Like, we never shook hands after 6 ends, or that was just not our mojo. But we won games in the 8th, 9th, and 10th ends, and we were confident in our ability to win games in the 8th, 9th, and 10th ends, and. So as long as we could be within 1 or 2, and then the 8th, 9th, and 10th ends, we really did tend to outplay our opponents. And it was a good recipe for us,
And that patience continues to show. The calm and the approach that you see on the ice with Colleen Jones and calling the game and the patience, and
Without
just
a doubt.
very comfortable to blank yet another end.
Yeah, without it, she's very patient, and I can't even say to a fault. She's become very open to communication. And this is all mapped out long before the second end of the semifinal. Make no mistake. I mean, our old strategy was always to play first two ends open as much as we could. The first two ends open, and because she has hammer and arguably has the control point already, she's going to wait for Jill to do the door knocking, which she did try. She did throw a center guard to start this end.
And wait for the opportunity to get a multiple.
I think so, yeah.
Nice light little sweep here. They're comfortable with the shot.
Nice little hit drill here.
It is.
One of our practices, actually, we used to have
that rock has walked its way up the house quite nicely.
Indeed, yeah.
Nobody's rolled out on either side. It's been quite a precise little drill.
Yeah, no one's really even looked at trying to roll over there. It's kind of, Jill's team doesn't want to roll too close to the corner guard because if they don't get it, then they make it easier for Kim.
And without anything in the center to hide behind at this point, there's not much benefit for
it. Yeah, the only thing, it would almost be worthwhile to give it a go if Jill tried to really roll all the way across the house to make Kim's blank attempt a little trickier. But you know what? That's a long shot. She's happy to throw a good stone and just have the visual of nose hitting a good in-turn throw. That's... I've said this the last couple of games that I've commentated as well. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but oftentimes it's the simplest shots that can make a difference in a game, in an end in a game. It's so easy to look at a skip/shot and say, oh, well, they didn't make that. You could see half that rock and she just threw too much weight or whatever. Well, you know what? If the third had hit and stayed out in the 8-foot, they wouldn't have been drawn around that center guard to begin with.
Absolutely.
So it's often, so many times, you can look to the hit and stay or whatever the easier shot was. Kim just had a little slip fall, but I think it happened after she released her stone, so I think she's fine.
That particular move just kind of looked like she tripped over the hog line.
Yeah. That's a good girl, Kimberly. She just kicked up her leg. I've seen that move before.
They're having a good chat out there
making
about
a joke. And as I mentioned, they know each other well. Kim was a good... I'm going to say she mentored Jill through the Scotties last year because she was their fifth player.
And I see these two teams, along with Marianne Arsenault, practicing every Tuesday evening at the Mayflower.
Right on. Yeah.
And so they're a very dedicated bunch.
Yeah.
They really are.
They are.
It's an inspiration to see them all working so very hard.
Well, and they love it. You do what you love and you get better at what you do. I know Colleen and Kim would throw rocks every day. Like, given that there's available ice or whatever, they would still be throwing rocks every day. I think they practice as a team once or twice a week, but individually they would throw rocks every day that ice is available to them. And not out of any great... it's not a burden, like it's a
pleasure.
Fun thing to do. It is. It's a pleasure. I still love to throw, and will throw most days that I can.
And you see that. You see the same people at lunchtime. And,
it's true.
Whenever those spots open up,
true.
it's the same
It's true.
handful of people that pop in to throw.
Well, 2 ends down, 8 to go, Pam.
That's right. And we'll remember to thank Kruger Products. They're our title partner for the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. And Deloitte is our title partner for the Deloitte Tankard. So we'd like to take a moment to thank them and for making this possible, and we're all very appreciative.
Indeed. Kruger and the previous owners of Scotties Tissues have been the longest, I believe this is still a stat, the longest standing sponsor in women's sport.
Wow.
Period.
That's impressive.
Not just curling, but women's sport. And they have been just a godsend to our sport. Have put on an amazing show at the national level since 1982, where Colleen Jones won the very first, in those days called the Scott Tournament of Hearts, now the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. So they are an amazing sponsor of of women's curling. So here we go, game on for sure. That's a really tight guard.
It is. In fact, I saw Colleen looking over it and hovering just for a second, wondering if she needed the biter stick.
Right, and that really pretty much forces a corner guard or, an open side draw or something. Going in behind that is a pretty tough shot, number one, but also leaves a fairly easy run back for the other team.
Right.
So this will be an interesting end. Those are two perfect shots by the leads at this point. Generally with ice that curls a generous amount, which this ice does seem to do, guards closer to the rings are more usable because you can curl. You get enough curl past the guard that you can, in fact, sink your stone. We'll see how this outturn behaves.
Girls are working pretty hard at it. Looks like just a wee little wick.
Little wick, tiny bit light maybe. I have heard, and again, I haven't been around all week, but I have heard that the ice has had different paths, which is not unusual at all for any ice surface. So they have to be very careful to watch that, like that outturn path. I'm not sure that they've thrown that yet. And,
right. Not on a draw, I don't think.
Not
yet.
on a draw,
No.
yeah.
So this one where the two of them bumped, certainly the shot rock is in the rings. I'm not sure what you folks can see at home, what the view is. But the question now, I think, is whether or not that center guard is touching. And it looks like we're looking for an official to come with a
right on. Yeah, so
6-foot check.
they need these clocks stopped so that no team is penalized at this point. So this is the one time in a game where you're allowed to bring out a measuring stick. And there's a 6-foot measuring stick where they can judge whether or not that rock is in the rings or not.
So that, and as you say, that applies to the free guard. But later in the game, after the free guard is over, there's no checking for biters. Then you have to figure it out
No,
for
that's right.
yourself.
That's only for the free guard zone. You're right, Pam. Good clarification there.
That's just in case there's any juniors listening.
Yes, that's right. In case they are. Speaking of juniors, Pam, how many years have you run the junior program at Mayflower now, Pam?
I don't know if it might be 4 or 5,
4 or
something
5
like
years.
that.
Well, I can tell you this lady works tirelessly. She sometimes squeezes out just a half-hour ice for me here and there when I'm looking for practice, and she's always generous that way. But just has, and I will thank you publicly, Pam, for the work that you do with the juniors. It's and you looked like you were working specifically with one team today. Is that your son's team?
That's my youngest son's team, yeah.
Okay,
And
tell me a little bit about that.
they're just a U15 boys team. The group of them have played together for 3 or 4 years, and they all really love it.
Nice. All 4 of them have played together for that long, 3 or 4 years.
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
I'd have to go back in my numbers to check, but certainly the skip and mate.
I think the result of the measure, and it does really look on the overhead that the rock is in. Is that what they saw, Taylor? Yeah, we're sitting next to Taylor.
Good to confirm, though.
Jill's coach, yeah.
So that dictates this shot being a removal
Yeah,
of some sort.
she can take either or both of these out.
And again, with last rock, the Jones rink doesn't want any garbage out in front to prevent them from accessing that 4-foot zone.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how she really wanted to hit that. I'm going to say pretty much like she did, although she would have preferred to keep a corner guard a little more in play, but
Still, pretty good result.
oh, absolutely, yeah. So Jill's calling for the split here. Interesting call because it'll take play away from the center. But she's looking to... Well, she's already sitting 1. I was going to say looking to sit 2. And with this strategy is really going more for a force, I would say, Pam, than a steal. Otherwise, you'd see a center guard, another center guard, going up.
She could get a nice little roll behind that corner guard. It's over quite far, but still interesting to mix it up a bit.
For sure.
So
That one doesn't, when we're looking at the monitor, perhaps, doesn't look like it's in.
no.
So one nice hit and roll here could really make a deuce a real possibility for Colleen's team.
So they're ignoring that center rock then, and going around? Or are they trying to hit it?
Oh, no, they're hitting
Okay.
it. Yeah. Now that you say that, I just know my skip.
Right.
And I know that she's going to hit that. But there's a lot of teams that would, in fact, ignore it and just go around the corner guard. It's a very typical strategy.
Oh, what a nice roll.
But why bother when you can do that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Get rid of the shot rock and put it right where you want it.
Indeed, yeah.
And she's a good team player.
Yeah, no,
here's-
it's a good point. A lot of teams, in fact, would regularly ignore that rock and go around one of their corner guards. But obviously, hitting and rolling behind two guards, though, is a bit easier than hitting and rolling behind one.
Right.
So, because there's sort of
More of a
extra
smoke
protection
screen,
over there.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're going for the run back here. The out turn.
And where that's a nice tight guard, it
Oh, yeah, for sure.
it's worth a shot.
Just
Didn't
over
quite.
curled on her a bit. I've seen that happen a bit in the wings.
But that rock
Didn't
stays.
quite get it out.
Yeah.
That's a factor already.
And so we've seen lots of bounce on these rocks this week. I think there seems like there's good action from the hits.
I don't know
but
about that, Pam.
no.
I was hearing actually someone else doing some commentary that they were saying that the rocks in the house are aren't real
Okay.
active, and they may have started that way. I haven't done much talking with Tracy other than to say hello and thank you for your hard work this week. Tracy Froud, the head ice maker here. Typically, they would sand these stones, which is basically just roughing up the running edge on the stones, which make them sharper and make them have more curl, and also make them more active. But that wears down, as the week goes on. So, but overall, I don't know that the rocks have been terrifically active in the house.
Okay.
Anyway, great shot there.
So sitting two and the house is split. That's kind of a nice, comfortable position.
It really is. It's pretty textbook. Jill's going to try to bounce this over. She would have 4 rocks left to come. She's going to keep trying to group this rock somehow. And
Get them closer to
Get
the
them
one on the
closer
other
together,
side
yeah.
and up further in the house, I
Yeah.
think, if she can, probably
Indeed,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
She starts her handle at 3 o'clock and then almost.
This is walking.
It is.
We're not right behind the sheet, so forgive us. Oh, she got it
Ooh,
by.
nice.
Nice shot.
No roll, though.
No roll, and she's not shot rock, so Colleen has options.
So we're looking for the draw down to the second shot stone,
Yeah,
which
I
is
like
yellow.
this call. It's one reason to hit would be for some reason maybe to keep the blank alive if Jill made some lovely double or whatever. But with this other yellow rock in the rings, it's unlikely that you're going to have a blank opportunity.
Right.
So I like the draw. You've got more room for error. You can place it exactly a little more where you want it.
And that's a thing that experience can certainly tell you. When is the time to bail and what's the proper scenario
Very
for
true.
it? Yeah.
Very true. Geez, I got a 15-3 on that, Pam. If I click properly, that's really nice keen ice.
And that's similar to what I saw earlier in
Yeah.
the week. Yeah.
Okay, good. Anyway, that's a lovely shot.
So it's just a little bit higher. Again, I'm not sure what you folks can see on TV. Sometimes we see things a little differently here, but it's just a little higher than the yellow rock. It looks well placed.
And ideally, Colleen would have loved to have cornered it 3 or 4 inches over onto the yellow rock, but you got to sit 2 there, and you sure as heck don't want to over curl it and leave yellow shot rock. So that's a great shot. I give her 4 out of 4 for that, Pam.
And on this one here, we have the call is to remove the blue, obviously, and fairly decent chance the yellow might go with it, the one that it's sitting with.
Especially if she
Ooh.
tries to roll. That's interesting.
She didn't try to roll. She hit it nose.
Well, you know what?
sent
I'm
it
going to
by.
say that she foresaw exactly what she's got now,
Good
which
for
is
her.
yeah.
That's like great.
It's it's kind of awkward to try to outdraw that pair right there now, so they're forced into hitting.
And those are more of a corner situation, so nose should get it.
Yeah, and that'll easily go behind the other blue, that top yellow. Anyway, pretty solid shot making this end.
Again, both teams are really on. And I mean,
Indeed.
here we are in the third end with 2 blanks and all the shots being made, really.
Totally great
Ooh.
shot, Colleen.
Lovely. So Jones sits 2, and I think Brothers won't be able to afford to ignore those.
I expect all the players will be totally on their game tonight, but I expect Colleen to play like I know she can tonight. I know she wasn't very pleased with her performance last night. I shouldn't probably shout her, but she said that to me. I just wasn't pleased. So You don't see that lady.
If you're going to have a bad game,
Yeah.
you got to hope it's not the final.
Well, that's what she said. I as long, didn't mind losing so much that night, but don't want to lose tonight. So.
And that is
So now the winner of this will, of course, go to the Nationals, the Scotties Tournament of Hearts, which will be held in Mosaic Place in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. So that's February 15th to 23rd.
Right
That's
on.
a fairly quick turnaround.
It is, and it's always been that time frame. Again, I'm repeating myself what I said on the air the other night, but the Scotties that I went to, my son's birthday is February 17th, so I missed 11
Oh,
of
dear.
his first 14 birthdays, ma'am. Yeah.
Good
The poor
memories,
kid
though.
doesn't feel loved at all. Great hit and roll here.
It is. Look at that.
Getting the grouping of the stones, just as we talked about.
And that curled down just a little bit towards the end. If it had just stayed a little bit higher, it would have been. I think they can get it with. I think they can knock that out.
I think you're right. I think, and they can still roll away a bit without having to, without removing their.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
what a
Taylor's
great
nodding his head.
shot.
He's got you. They give the coaches a better seat, Taylor, than the commentators. Pardon me. Oh no, just that she can hit and roll without taking the blue out. Yeah, yeah. Right on.
But that was lovely. That's one of those shots that you have to hold in your heart if you're ever feeling bad and think, remember that? That felt
Exactly.
great. And bring yourself back.
she wasn't coming, and she hasn't texted me, emailed me to come.
So Kim Kelly delivering this. Doesn't
I
look
should have timed that. Looks like about a 10-second hit to me, which is generally on nice keen ice. That would be what I'm going to say both teams would probably throw. She can get the inside flip. Ooh, 2.
Oh, that was very nice.
Yeah.
Stayed for second shot.
Yeah. There's certainly a double. She has to be conscious of not hitting that second blue too thin because it could jam. But as long as she...
Does that guard pose any threat
I
there?
don't think. It does to shot rock, Pam, but I
Right.
don't think it poses any to whaling at the double. But back yellow rock is definitely a concern for getting that top blue out. She'd have to hit and roll out for sure in order to make that double without jamming on the back.
And what about drawing down into that nest?
Definitely an option, and I would be surprised if they didn't choose that option, to be honest.
The risk of... And this would be... Is this Jill's Lost coming up?
Yeah, because Kim's already
Yeah.
thrown one, so... Yeah, so you're weighing what you're weighing. Obviously, the draw, it actually gives you an opportunity to steal as well, because if she made it perfect, Kim would be forced to just a straight draw to the 4-foot. Fully would expect her to make it. Whereas the double would very likely just give Kim the blank on the back yellow. So you're weighing.
What do you want to
those
leave the other
options.
team
I'll
with?
tell you the other thing that you're weighing. If you do come down, obviously, Joe wouldn't be thinking of it this way, but you do threes in the picture. Like if you ever came and touched the front or kicked off the back a bit, all of a sudden there's a 3 in the picture
Right.
too. So all of those things are part of this decision making. It'll depend how Jill feels about where to put this broom down, either for the draw or the hit. It's what she knows the best, really. So she's confident in her draw weight, and she's confident where to put this brush. So
I like
all
the way
things
she,
equal,
yeah.
I like this call.
Yeah.
Like, as long as all things equal, I really prefer this call. So, sorry, Pam.
Well, I was just going to
walked over
say
you there.
that you could see that they were talking, and then she looked at it for a second and boom, made
Decisive.
a decision.
I agree.
Decisive. I
Yeah.
like that. I think
I do too.
when somebody's walking away from that call, they're confident. You like to see that. It's the hesitation and just flip around and look as you're going down the ice that
Indeed,
is
yeah.
a little more worrisome. Depending on the individual, of course. So this is a pressure shot here.
It is.
Drawing against 2, looking to go right into that nest. And the rock's away. I think, Nancy, you have a
Yeah, I did. I just
stopwatch on
put a
this?
clock on it. The one area of the ice, of course, it's too early, but in the games, other evenings, is the center parts of the sheet, I think, have become more vulnerable as play goes on, which is very typical. The weight looks great. I got a 14.8 on that. Oh, yep.
Wow.
Did she get by,
I
or did she touch? No, she got by.
think That's pretty nice.
It's a beautiful shot, and it's shot rock.
And a big thank you to Erin, the sweeper, for
Indeed.
holding that one straight, because she worked that really hard. Did a terrific job.
Yeah. Great shot, Jill. You just know she's going to make those. And really, that shot was set up by her first shot, Pam. I mean, she made a beautiful shot there, but she would never have been doing that if the rocks were still on opposite sides of the
Right.
house. She would not have been
Right.
freezing. You know, she would have sort of tried to roll and basically given up the deuce. But her first rock was the main rock to force Colleen's team to 1 here.
What a well played end. This
It
has
really
been.
well played in.
Really,
Yeah, textbook
really
really.
great. And a draw to the 4-foot. It always seems easy when they're doing the draw to the buttons during round robin play, but that paint can be hard to find at times.
Listen. When you can't find it, it seems impossible. Like I've often said as a lead, sometimes the house looks like it's a dime, you know, and sometimes it feels like it's a football field. But this is not heavy. 15-7 I got on it.
The girls are working it. I think
Man, they drug that a long way.
some beautiful sweeping there. Little.
I think they just got it there. That was a well-swept stone.
Sure was. And there's, that's one of the things that people who maybe don't curl very often don't really give enough credit to those sweepers and their judgment and their ability to just know when they have to
Very
sweep.
true.
It's amazing.
Very true. And as a thrower, it gives you so much more margin when you have confidence in your sweepers. Like you say, both their ability to judge and their ability to just power and add the extra 4 or 5 feet on the draw. It's a pretty cool feeling when you're sitting in the hack knowing that you've got a sweeper that's not just a good sweeper but a good judge of weight.
I had the pleasure of playing a game with a longtime second here before Christmas, and I didn't even have to think as a sweeper because she just knew when to sweep.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
I was just amazed. It was great.
Yeah. And it is the sweeper's job. You know, oftentimes new curlers or even some club curlers wait for the skip's
do.
call. And I know even in our Boxing Day, Taylor Boxing Day spiel in Windsor on Boxing Day, of course, the curlers that only curl once a year, they're waiting for the skip, of course, from the other end to tell them whether to sweep or not. But it's the person that's right over the stone that's got the best judge of whether the rock needs to be swept or not.
And I had the pleasure to give a little bit of a sweeping clinic the other day to some folks who wanted some more information. And that was one of the things I said they had to challenge themselves to call out the weight and be okay that it's wrong the first few times. But if you don't challenge yourself to say it out loud,
you absolutely have to, and keep correcting it as you come down. I know, having been in the house quite a bit with Colleen, I keep saying to the girl, keep it coming. Like, even if you're saying the same thing over and over, just keep the information coming. Notable throw here. They had to make a decision on Julia's rock. She wanted a tight guard, and it just slipped into the rings. They could have swept that fully into the rings, which would not have allowed Jill's team to do exactly what they've just done, which it appears have nose hit it and it's out of the rings. So it's a bit of a frustrating situation because as a skip, speaking of sweepers, you're expecting those sweepers to make the call there as to whether it's going to stop or whether it needs to be swept in. And I mean, let's face it, was only 3 inches short of stopping, but they would have much rather that rock been fully in.
Right, and then you don't have the questionable whether or not you have to deal with the guard and so on.
Well, and you don't give Jill a free guard because she gets to nose hit that rock. She's allowed to hit it, and then now you're not allowed to hit her. So.
Yeah, that is a notable shot, really.
It really is. Yeah, it's a notable shot, but it happens to everybody. It's not a judgment that I'm making, but it's one of those details that as a team, and then dollars to donut, the next time those girls have a chance to sweep or not, they're going to make the decision, okay, that really looks in, I've got to commit to it. So looks like another interesting end coming up here, Pam.
Draw right in behind that yellow-blue
Yes,
combo.
looks like it's sliding really well tonight. I'm going to say it looks like it's sliding better than last night.
This is going a little bit deep.
Definitely, yeah. I didn't get a time on that, but...
Nice, maybe. They've worked up both ends now. They're probably settling into some good speeds everywhere.
So now, Jill has hammer. So this is this is my opinion in this situation. If I have hammer in this situation, like if Colleen happened to have hammer, I would want to draw this top 4. I wouldn't want to be right back to it. But if I don't have hammer, I want to be right back to it because I don't want that point to ever go on the board.
Right.
So there's some people that, is it okay to be behind the tee line with this upcoming shot, or should I be right back to it? In my opinion, if you don't have hammer, you want to be back to that shot.
Right on top
Unless you're in a position where you absolutely need to steal the end, like in the 10th end or an extra end. But in this situation, Colleen wants to be right back there, for sure.
Because that forces Jill now. She can only get one.
Jill, yeah, well, she'll probably do a little cleanup job. But, and they're getting so close to the button now, so if Jill actually froze, she'd have the pin. She wouldn't have to worry about it. But
then it's only for one.
Yeah, it's only for one. So anyway, that was we've just walked right over what a fabulous shot that was.
Exactly.
Took it for granted, but that's a perfect shot.
And no bounce really at all.
Yeah,
it was excellent.
Beautiful shot.
Well managed from the sweepers and communication throughout. Yeah. So just the straight peel there. Well played.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting how this plays out. I can only expect that Colleen will be throwing the guards for a while at least.
Keep the play out of the house.
She has to be careful at some point, Jill, because if Colleen, she wouldn't do it this early because there's too many rocks left that could move too much granite. But you get to Colleen's last rock, or I could see them freezing right down on top of that blue one and saying, "Okay, your turn."
You figure it out.
So yeah. But I think you'll see a few guards here.
And you see lots of chatter from both, the sweepers. As we see this vantage point, you can see them come up and communicate. It looks like both teams are communicating well.
So this was definitely a guard. I saw the call. Worked out okay.
So this is the plan B.
Yeah, I think that's the plan B, and it's definitely an okay shot. It's complicating things for Jill without a doubt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure unless they changed their mind, I'm pretty sure they called the guard there.
So she's looking to run the yellow onto the blue.
Yep. And at this point, she'd just as soon make contact with that back blue as well to get rid of that back yellow one.
Because
that blue's not going anywhere.
Right.
And with that blue not going anywhere, the only scoring area right now is that white button.
Yeah.
So
and that's
she'd love to clip that back blue so that it would push the yellow back.
Right, because with the direct hit there, she still left the guard out in front.
Yeah, she got rid of one blue. Okay, now did she just pat right in there? Okay,
yep,
so she's
coming
right in. Yeah.
It looks like Colleen asked for a little less there. We've heard that more than once from her over the years.
Yes, a titch less. I used to hear that quite a bit, Pam.
A little
titch
less,
titch less, titch more. Weight looks good.
Sweepers are on and off. They must
and
be
there's a
pretty
lot
happy
of
with it.
room for how to make this shot. That's a great shot. Maybe they did want it right on down, but really anything from where that is to right up to where Sheena's last rock is a great shot. As long as if you're in the rings, you want to have buried a little piece behind that yellow, but that's a great shot.
And it forces, again, it's what you want to leave the other team with sometimes. And the brothers team is certainly faced with some decisions, and runbacks are sometimes a little more challenging than just the draw.
Although I'm going to tell you, my money's on Erin to make this. I watched her make so many runbacks the other day. So,
well, I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
She's chasing that rock almost the whole way down.
It's hanging a bit. Looks like it's just going to hang a little too much.
Oh, she shook it up.
It's helpful.
Yep.
Definitely helpful.
Opened up the front a wee bit, but mostly loosened up the protection So now that
Definitely.
blue is
So the
open.
blue's
Yeah.
removable, and there's actually a tiny bit more room around the button too. If you remember, that
Yep.
blue was biting the button. So there is a shot right now. Jill could outdraw that on the out turn. I think she just needs sort of full 4.
Yep.
So Jill's still chasing a bit here. She'll be. Well, we'll see where this guard ends up, because you never know. You could turn it into a skip's deuce pretty quick too.
I've gotten a text message saying that the online score says that the score is 3-0 when in fact it's 1-0.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So
They've taken the
just,
old scoreboard method.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still using the old score here, where the
And you have to change
3
it every
signifies
time.
the end.
That's right. Yeah. So
No, 1-0 game, folks. In the fourth end, and Jill has hammer. Jill Brothers has hammer.
the first time I used that online scoring system, I had to, of course, convert from the baseball style, from the curling club to the baseball, but also the red and the blue were opposite, the top and the bottom, so you had to check everything 3 times.
Right, yeah. I still prefer the old method, I guess, because I'm old. And it just, you put one marker up and you know what the score is. Otherwise, in clubs that have the old, where you put the score, then if you don't change what the total score is over on the right-hand side, people have to kind of count and figure out.
Yeah.
Jill I think she's got a play on this back one that's a really long guard, which, to be honest, isn't going to prevent her from making contact with the rock that's just behind the button here.
And I think I saw her call hack, so lots of weight to get it out.
Yeah,
but
so she's looking for some movement. She wants... Oh, she did touch it.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what it says online, but it is 1-0 for Jones over Brothers. I think they're saying 3-0 for Brothers online or something. I'm not quite sure, but it is 1-0 for Jones. And just a quick update, the Stevens versus Kendall Thompson game.
Oh my goodness, it's the first time I've looked over there. Wow.
Kendall Thompson is up 3-0 over Chad Stevens.
4-0.
Oh, I'm sorry, 4-0, yep.
Yeah.
All the talks about the numbers here.
Yeah, they started with hammer and they took 1 in the first, stole 1 in the second, then stole 2 in the third.
And this is the third game for Chad Stevens and his crew today. Yes. They have to be exhausted.
Yeah, so not to just wipe right over that. So it's Chad's 3rd game today. That's right for sure, right? Yeah. And then the winner of this game plays at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning as well. Okay, so Kimberly is just an out-turn guard. I think they'd like it a little tighter than Colleen's last one was, so that there's not a path to the back rock. It's got to come over quite a ways.
It's a little tighter than the last one. Looks
tighter,
pretty good.
and it's a good thing, because if it had been longer, even by 3 or 4 feet, there would have definitely been a path. One thing about a guard, the distance over the hog line's one thing, but the further it comes, the further it's going to curl, so the further it would cover that back rock. It looks like they've still got a play on it, Pam. So Kim, I think, was looking for 2 or 3 feet more weight, in which case this shot wouldn't be there. Yeah.
That's right. And we are seeing some good curl there. So
indeed, yeah.
We'll see.
Guards are not the easiest thing to throw sometimes, because it does, 2 or 3 feet of weight makes 2 or 3 inches of extra cover on that rock. This shot wouldn't be there.
I always find guards, like in the beginning of the end, it seems okay, you can place them, but late in the game, if you're throwing a guard, it's like, well, you'll either make it or it'll be a complete bust.
It's true. It's a huge detail. Spoke about that the other night too, in terms of teams that are successful, and I'm telling you, it is the detail, the attention to the what might not even seem like a rock position that might matter, but the devil's in the details for sure. Boy, that's curling over again too much.
Might get it to swing in onto the rings. No, it's spun just out.
Hit the side points.
Yeah, hit the side.
So decision time here. Do you want to be satisfied to just, put pressure on by having her draw against 1? The other option here would be to play an in-turn, there's room, I think, although I'm not behind the sheet, for a bit of a Christmas tree action that might put extra pressure. But,
Would you ever guard this by putting a bite on the 12?
It doesn't really do you anything. I guess other than you'd think Jill might throw it through the rings and, steal a 2, but, they know Jill's not going to do
Right.
that. So the other thing, if you did that and you were 2 feet heavy, for instance, Pam, you might give her the double. They definitely want to see Jill draw here.
Right.
So I shouldn't have been so hard in response. If this is a biter, fine. Like, it's fine, for
Right.
sure.
But that's not the goal of the
The
shot.
more important thing is they're trying to force her to the out-turn draw. But this has to come over still, and it's got even less weight than the last one.
So it's over further, up higher.
I think they've covered it this
I
time.
think so.
But you know what? This out-turn path is no picnic here.
No.
With the way that the blue guards are, I'm not sure that there is a shot on the out-turn.
There's lots of problem rocks in play out there relative to the draw.
Yeah. And this end was all set up by that shot by Sheena when she made that freeze on that back stone. And I
Right.
said, oh gosh, we just talked over that and didn't. That shot, this end, so far I would give Sheena a gold star. Sometimes we used to give gold stars on the forehead. It really wasn't. It was just a finger to the
Right.
forehead. But I would give Sheena a gold star on this end for that shot. Yeah, I think she's forced to this, Pam, because I don't think there's a path on that
I don't think
out-turn
either.
safely.
No, yes, exactly.
And you sure as heck wouldn't want to overcurl and bump the
them
blue
in.
in. So.
No.
Yeah, she's forced to the run back. She doesn't care. In fact, she'd prefer not to stay. But she'd take a point right now.
And this is I didn't see all of the game the other day that these two teams played, but it was a very low-scoring game. Everybody was getting one.
But there was a lot of rocks in play.
Oh, there were tons of rocks in
That's
play.
when Mark Huck
Yeah.
came over to me because she was playing a couple sheets over. She goes, oh, this looks like it was a fairly wide open game. Just looking at the scoreboard, but it hadn't been.
No.
It was just that
Everybody
at the end of the
was-
end, there was only 1 point being scored.
Yeah.
She's close.
A lot of good snipers out there.
Oh, just
oh,
by.
shoot, just by.
Yeah.
And those run backs are tough.
Yeah, they just had, they kind of missed twice the same way there with
And
Aaron's shot and
you've
Jill's
noticed
shot.
that they're curling a lot on that
They
side.
were curling
Yeah.
more than they expected. Even that curled more than they expected, right? So anyway, an exciting end. So Point Jones, so she's up 2 after 4. I had the opportunity to make this comment earlier and sometime it got by me. But yeah, the Scotties is in Moose Jaw. Oh, I think I talked about missing so many
Right.
of Kevin's birthdays. But I wanted to also say a special hi to Madison Kelly. Kimberly's daughter works for the Canadian Curling Association.
Oh,
I guess
wow.
it's called Curl Canada now. And she worked the event in Sydney last year as a organizer, administrator, event coordinator, whatever it's called. And so she's been in Moose Jaw. Maddie, I think you went in August. So she's part of the Curl Canada's support for the host committee and getting things in order there. So you can imagine Kim would dearly love to go to Moose Jaw.
That would
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
And you really don't realize as a fan who buys a ticket and goes to watch a curling game that it would take so much effort and
Oh my
coordination.
goodness, and hundreds of volunteers, and yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, I remember Kim drove her out, so I think it was in August. Might have even been in July. So there is a lot of preamble, to getting things in place, getting people in place, getting things ordered, getting things. So Colleen's got a 2-point lead now. I don't think you'd see any team. Perhaps you would, but certainly not. Colleen's not going to be throwing guards.
No.
If she can hold on to a 2-point lead. Little surprised that Jill hits this, but what I've also seen with the 5 rock rule, which I'm still just learning, this is only the second year in competition, because they get the second chance for a free guard, Jill's really looking to bounce that. She was hoping to bounce that out of the 4-foot
good
area, bounce
location,
it to the
yes,
wing,
and then guard it.
It doesn't even matter. Well, then if she bounces it and Colleen hits it, then Jill can throw her corner guard without one right on top of the 4-foot.
Right.
Now with the 4 rock rule, if you chose to hit that one in the house and ideally bounce it out to the side, you don't get this free guard. They could walk up and peel it.
Right.
So even Jill's happier because that's even 2 rocks out of, it's 2
Right.
rocks further ahead. So the 4-foot, it's barely in the 4-foot now. So she gets that second chance on having a guard that cannot be removed.
Right.
So
Without the threat of so much blue
Yeah, and-
granite in play.
exactly, without so much blue and without the rock being as as good as it was. And also, it's 2 rocks later. It's not as
Right.
junky. I've seen a lot of teams do this, like hit the first time, but they're committed to throwing the corner guard on their
Right.
second chance. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I know I watched just the tail end of the Stephen Stewart Thompson game earlier today, and it was later, either 8, 9, or 10, in terms of the end, and they allowed a couple of rocks to go in play while putting up the corner guards, and then, as you mentioned, it ended up being so junked up.
And what was the score? Were they down though, Pam?
Oh, they were. They had no
yeah,
choice.
so they had no
choice.
Yeah. In this situation,
But this
Jill
is a
just
prime
needs to
example,
score or
yeah.
blank here, and it's great that she's in the game. She doesn't need to risk giving up a steal.
It's earlier in the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, different scenario altogether. But I know exactly what you mean. 'Cause
Yeah.
you've seen that.
So here goes Sheena. She's trying to throw a tight guard. You
And it
wouldn't
is.
want anything more than 3 feet out of the house there, or it becomes a weapon for the other team.
And she's nice and tight, just on
Yeah,
the
it's a
low
good
side
shot.
of the Deloitte.
She would have preferred, if anything, to guard this side because the corner guard's on that side.
And that complicates
So
the draw around.
and also if she showed an inch more, you could actually bump it and roll to the corner guard.
Mm-hmm.
So in that situation, this is kind of a rule of thumb. You're always trying to guard, if you're not directly in front of it, the side of the rock where the corner guard is, because
Okay.
then there's never a hit and roll behind the corner guard, right? Again, as a lead, that's something I was always conscious of. Like if I've got to make sure I get out to my broom here. I do not want to over curl this guard, if anything,
Right.
because I don't want to give them that chance to hit and roll behind the corner. But that was good enough. They couldn't see enough of it to hit. So great shot by Sarah. Mm-hmm. Colleen doesn't have much choice now. I suppose she could try to get to the nose of that and freeze it, but she's content to plug it up and just make it complicated for them.
And that's really showing some of the patience and not worried about what happens now, but preparing again for the
It's
last
true.
few rocks.
Yeah, it's true. That was just a great shot by Sarah. There's not too many ways to counter that. Again, you could freeze the face of it, but this is going to sound funny, but both teams at this point are quite happy with the way this end is developing. Really, I expect Jill to clear, and then
there
she's
she
got
goes.
a corner guard, she's got one in the house.
Well, nobody's had a clear miss, so they should both be happy.
The shots
yeah.
have all been made. Yeah. Gosh, I can't believe we're in the 5th end already, Pam.
Goes quickly. So this is Sarah's second. She's looking to really split this
Oh,
open.
she
up
wants
here. Yeah.
all of this gone. Not bad. I mean, it opened up the back. I expect to see Colleen get rid of this yellow one now.
Just pop it through
Yeah.
the hole there.
But still not a big concern. Oh, no, look at this now. My skipper is fooling me. She's going to throw the guard, so she wants to put some pressure on Jill. I think she's thinking right now that, Jill has a hard time to sit to, to hit that blue one. I mean, oh no, she's changed her mind.
Yeah.
That's I
Back
was
and
gonna,
forth
I
a
was a
little
little
bit.
I was a little confused by that. Yeah.
So as we wait for this rock, I see that Chad Stevens has made it on the board. He scored a single in the 4th. And we're playing Jones is up 2-0 over Brothers, playing the 5th end.
Yeah, it's been a great game. And again, the ice conditions look good, which everybody's happy about for sure. She would like to stay around probably here, Pam, in the wings somewhere, but that's a secondary option. I think she's already got that other one in the wings, or that
Yeah.
other one's still on.
Yeah. Sitting two, very comfortable
So
position.
Jill's playing the hit and roll here. And again, she's got the 2 guards this time to roll behind. So and that blue is awfully tight to try to draw behind it.
Right.
So this is the percentage call for sure. Well, that looked like it took a jump. Nope.
Sweeper on and off. Must like it.
Little directional sweeping.
Wee little roll. It's, I think, to use your terminology, it looks Christmas tree if I look
A
at the
little
overhead.
bit, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I must say, you hear that terminology. We hear it on national events as well, and I think our team was the first one to use it when we were mic'd. But I got to give credit where credit is due. And I said this the other night too, so I'm sorry for repeating myself. But when we played, we used to play in men's spiels, men's events. Certain times we would be allowed, which was really helpful. It was a love-hate thing because we seldom won, but it was really good competition for us, and it was
good
part of us,
challenge.
part of our challenging ourselves. Anyway, Colleen, I think she was probably off commentating in some Olympics somewhere, and Brian Rayfuse spared for us, and he skipped our team. And oh my gosh, I mean, that's one of many expressions that Brian Rayfuse had, and he goes, "Oh yeah, girls, we'll just do a little Christmas tree here," and we're going, "What do you mean, Brian? Like, what, a Christmas tree? What are you talking about?" And that was it, where you just sort of see a piece of both rocks. So that is Brian. And I've told him that, and he credited I can't remember. He then credited someone else with it that said it to him. So I must find out who the real origin of that very famous saying is. But we got it from Brian Rayfuse.
And then with that Christmas tree effect, of course, means that when you hit the rock, you're rolling open. You can't roll in behind.
Yeah, and so it makes it the Christmas
play.
Tree effect actually really requires 3 rocks. So you've got sort of a guard and then 2 in behind it that each are showing a piece on each other. And it just complicates removing either of them.
Right.
Certainly there's no double, so. But it's quite funny how that expression has become, I think it's pretty much in the rule book now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I took my eye off of this. So they didn't make the hit and roll the first time, but they made it the second time. Beauty.
I don't think there's any way to get to that directly now.
Yeah, so 2 choices, run back or draw. It's behind the tee line. There's kind of more room for, shouldn't say error, there's more margin to make this shot on a draw, because as long as she buries a piece here, she could be anything from top. She doesn't really even need to be shot, but ideally top 4, middle 4, back 4, right down to it. Those are all great shots.
Right.
The perfect shot would be just corner frozen or within 6 inches of it, so that the blue rock cannot be removed without jamming it on that yellow. That's what my perfect shot would be.
And here we have Kim Kelly looking for that perfect shot. And I was looking at this front end. Both of these gals have great form. Flat backs, feet out beyond the...
Yeah, they really do. Boy, sweeping has evolved over the years, hasn't it, Pam? Technique, the rules have changed, the type of fabric that's being used. Not allowed to even have a hairbrush anymore. This shot looks great. They're sweeping for weight and for movement now.
So
did she bury a piece?
A piece, maybe, but it's certainly going to be difficult to remove.
Oh boy, that's close to good. That's really close to being
Lovely
a great shot. Jill might have a shot to get to the nose of it.
Oh, do you think?
Well, I just don't know how much. She doesn't have to remove it. All she needs to do is push it to the back 8 foot, right? I'm going to say it's
so
there.
with a hack weight or something,
You don't even need hack.
No?
If anything, it's better that she doesn't remove the rock. She just wants to sit 2.
Okay, right.
So the less weight, the more movement, and that's a nice call too.
So Erin was just indicating, in case I'm not sure what the screen is looking at, to hit that front one on the 12 foot and roll over.
Yeah, and sit second and third. And then Colleen's going to hit one of them.
But you can't hit both, hopefully.
You can't hit both of them. And also, the second shot rock is going to be that back yellow. She can't roll this in a position to be second shot rock, right? So that second shot rock is, it's not super easy to get at with the blue in front of it, the corner guards here. And at the very least, she'd have to pretty much leave them grouped, right? So if this shot is made, then if Colleen does play that back yellow, pretty tricky to get separation between the 2 blues. I think this is a smart call. It must not be very makeable to get to the nose of that blue rock with any weight.
Right.
Yeah, this is a smart call.
And it's great to see, there are times when you need that sober second thought from the folks at the other
Totally.
end.
Oh, totally.
Great
Yeah,
team communication there. So it looks like sweeping this for line. Looks like it's really curling.
It sure does. She doesn't want to touch her own yellow.
Ooh,
Eee.
ouch. Oh, it didn't
Touched
knock
it,
it
but
out.
didn't remove it.
Phew.
Yeah, that's not what she was looking for.
No. Does line up 3 rocks, 1, 2, and 3, but
I wonder if the ice is moving a little more tonight, Pam, because there's been a few overcurls, hey? Yeah.
certainly coming this way
Yeah.
into center
Yeah,
and
yeah.
going that way. Yeah.
I'm not sure what her weight was there. That's a shot where I would throw probably, maybe a 9.5 second, because you want to hit and roll. You want to roll away from that situation.
And you
where
don't want the blue to stay around.
But you don't.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want the blue to stay for sure, and you want to really roll off of it. So they've got a decision to make, because the blue, the yellow, there's a yellow one in the house, so I don't see anything else but the guard myself, but...
And that looks like what they see as well. It's going to make it difficult. It would have to be a great draw at this point.
It would. Yeah, she'd need a piece of the button,
yeah,
basically.
for
So
Jill to
they're
score.
looking to be square in front of that yellow rock. So just cross center.
Right. Otherwise, she's got the run back, I suppose, would be her next play. Jill's next
Exactly.
play,
If she didn't throw this guard, that's exactly what they're protecting against.
Right.
They're saying, okay, you go ahead, you can draw.
Yeah.
You go ahead and draw that button.
Yeah,
we're going to
that's
take
right.
this run back away from you. So the line it doesn't matter where this is, as long as it's directly in front of that yellow rock.
So line is everything. Your
Line
position
is
forward
everything.
and aft is
Yeah,
not.
yeah. It definitely has to cross center. Mind you, as long as she even covers
Sweepers
half
are
of
working
this.
it. Go, girls.
Ooh.
Phew, a sigh
There
of
it is.
relief.
It did the trick.
Those
Did
girls
the
worked
trick.
very hard on that.
Thank you very much, sweepers.
And I expect you'll see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if there's anyone that deserves good sweeping on their behalf, it's Kimberly, because she certainly has done it on she has swept
Done
so
her
hard
fair
on so
share.
many other
Yes,
behalfs.
exactly.
Yeah. So Jill's just got to be thinking T-line weight here. You're not thinking about the button, or, you just, I'm going to throw T-line, T-line to the broom.
And this is last stone in the 5th end. Jill Brothers trying to squeeze in here for a point. What a well-played end. We've
It really was,
had a
and
great
Jill
game.
got that hit and roll she was looking for, right? And then Kim made that great shot. Like I said, there was a number of places it could be. It could be, and she made it just good enough that Jill wasn't comfortable trying to play it on the nose. So just not a ton of
Sweepers.
room here.
Sweeping for line, maybe a bit for weight.
Well, she's on the blue, so she's going to have to roll off it, or...
Didn't quite take
No,
it
again,
enough.
an overcurl. I mean,
Yeah.
the weight was close.
Yeah, the weight was really close. On its own, I think, on the lid probably.
Yeah.
Well, another well-played end. The score is now 3-0 for Jones. And Nancy Delahunt.
So Kim
tonight.
gets the gold star that end.
Yes.
Because of that one shot. Like, that's sort of the one that turned the end around. Otherwise, Jill really was setting up for a deuce, you know. So, and that Kim shot did not need to be perfect. So
No.
we're at 5th end, right?
We're at 5th
Yeah,
end.
so
It's
we take
time
a
for
break too, Pam?
We do indeed.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit, guys.
3-0 at this point.
So at the halfway mark, and I know it's a 3-point lead, seasoned team, Jill, she knows that all they need is a deuce. Really all they need is to score, especially with the 5 rock rule. You don't ever go in saying, oh my gosh, we need a 3, And another expression that I've never liked it in any sport, whether it's my kids played volleyball, so I watched a lot of volleyball, was let's get it back. Let's get it back. Well, you can't get it back. You're just looking for good shots. Put yourself in a position to be able to, for sure, score and hopefully score a deuce. All they need is a deuce, and this game is a whole new one. So.
Exactly. And we're seeing a little different approach here. Of course, Colleen went in with her first, which makes perfect sense, and Jill is asking her lead to play the guard this time.
Yes, and last end we commented on how she waited. Waited until the second chance.
And it
but
looked
now
really good.
She's down, and it sure did.
Yeah.
It just was one shot that turned it around. But this time she definitely, when I said, they really are looking for a deuce, but they've got 3 on their mind now. She's going to take 2 corners this end. And with 2 corner guards, theoretically, 3 is in play if you make all your shots. So it'll be interesting. I think with the placement of that corner guard, we'll see the next corner guard go up on the other side. But that's also something that teams are experimenting with.
Some people like the double fore and aft
with the ones on the same side. I still like the different sides. I think that the men, that you watch on TV, the reason that they do line them up one in front of the other is they're worried about the double peels.
Right.
And I just think you've got to check your skill set, and the skill set of the team you're playing against, and
are they comfortable with that, and do they convert it often?
Right, and see what are the odds that they're going to make a double peel in corner guards. So I didn't see the call. I'm assuming Colleen called that
she did.
In the house.
Yep.
She did, yeah. And that would be our old typical strategy. 2 up, we'd go tight short. 3 up, we'd go right in. Julia's having another outstanding game. Again, as a career lead, I pay a lot of attention to the lead and the front end play. And clearly they've made Kim and Colleen's job pretty easy, this game. The other front end has played equally well. We don't have stats, but there certainly has been there's been no real advantage after the front end stones, Pam.
No horrible misses, that's for sure. And good execution on the front end does tend to make it a little easier for the back end players. I heard a commentator from the juniors out in Langley, BC, make the remark that a skip loves to play a draw or an open hit. They're not so fond about the double run backs.
Yeah, no kidding. Now this is interesting. Jill didn't take her second corner guard, and that's something that years ago, remember when you were 3 up, you might throw rocks through the house, or at least throw the second rock through the house or whatever. And the reason that Colleen doesn't like to do that is she would rather have Jill playing in the rings than throw that second corner guard.
Right.
I can tell you right now, she would rather have, because it's harder generally to make freezes and stuff in the rings than it is to sink a rock behind the corner guard. So that's the theory with not throwing rocks through when you're up by 3, is that you don't want to give the other team 2 free corner guards kind of thing. So, but that was a pistol. I mean, Colleen can't do anything with that, either guard it or freeze it, but it looks like she's chosen to guard it. Because at some point, obviously, Jill's going to need to smash that up.
Right. And as you say, I mean, there's part of it is making the shot for yourself, and part of it is making it difficult for the other player, for the other team. Yeah.
Well, totally, and letting them go at it. Like, Colleen's not going to start fooling around with that yellow rock and make a shot for them.
No.
So
she's set up beautifully there.
Yeah. So it looked like doesn't look like the slam back here. It looks like just the peel. Don't think she's trying to run that back. I might be wrong. I've been wrong about many of the calls so far.
No, I think that was exactly as you suspected. Might have looked to clip a little bit and shake some angles up.
Yeah, they would look like they were directional sweeping to bring it over a little bit.
But still a good outcome.
Yeah.
She's better off now than she was a shot ago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a crazy old game, Pam. There's been no shots missed yet.
No.
But there is a clear, I mean, Jill is fighting already, So.
Sometimes it feels a little bit to me when I'm watching that with 5 rock, the team that's up, it can be tough if they're good snipers to really make a score against them.
True, yeah. Yeah. And to be honest, oh, that's going to come over the hug line. And just right on it. That's unfortunate.
You
To
always
be
feel,
honest, that big long guard would not have been terrific either. I've never thrown a long guard where I've been happy. I can tell you at the end of the end.
as a sweeper, you're just jumping over it the whole time.
Yeah. But that also signals to me that I'm going to say the slide path has slowed down a bit, Pam. Sheena doesn't do that. So that whole rock was all the way down the slide path. So Jill's going to move this around. She wants to keep both yellows in the rings. At this point, that's goal number 1. Doesn't really matter what happens to the blues, but it is mandatory that you do not roll out here. Great shot.
And nice little over roll, but in the right direction.
It's a great shot. Both of those rocks,
yeah.
both yellows now have some sort of protection, right? I don't know if that's wide open on this side. It's hard for us to see, but
Maybe from the out turn.
yeah. I think she can get it on the out turn. Obviously she can.
So Jill would like to see a change of momentum here. She'd
Oh
like
my goodness, would she ever?
to get a point or two in this end for sure to...
Yeah, she goes, wait a minute, it's my turn, because the teams played well. So
Yes, exactly. Now, it seems to me years ago the out-turn hit was one of Colleen's favorites.
Oh, well, that goes without question, yeah. We were talking about that the other night, too, something about in-turns and out-turns. And I said something to the effect of I wouldn't have a career if I didn't throw out-turns. I mean, that was definitely what our team played. Generally, I mean, Colleen's made a career out of that as well. And she throws a lovely straight out turn. Jerry Peckham from the Canadian Curling Association, now Curl Canada, always said that, how Rachel and all those teams throw those heavy handles, almost put them back a bit. Colleen's done that since the beginning of time, long before it was popular. And that's why she has done so well at national events. One of the reasons that she's done so well at national events is that she's had that pop, and then the rocket's just more predictable coming down, down the sheet. And of course, then we've all learned to try to throw that way too. She would have wanted to stay there, I think, Pam. It's not terribly disappointing to roll out, but so Jill's in a really nice position right now. She's definitely set up for 3. I don't mean to look too many stones ahead, but you can see how it would play out that if she sinks this, Colleen is looking at either trying to freeze or peel. Boom, boom, they're line 3. So 3's in the picture here. She just wants to really make sure she's getting the best value out of each one of these shots. This is when rock placement is critical.
Right. She really would like to sink this behind that corner guard.
Behind it, and not in a position where those yellows can be doubled off.
Right. So come right back to tee, or even with the...
Well, let me just see. She said, okay, that's sunk. So... But I think she can probably... Exactly. I think she can get at it from there. So... That needed to be a little bit deeper. She's not going to get rid of this yellow.
Because the blue
yellow because of the blue.
Right.
But her only access to the other yellow is to come off of that one, and it solves 2 purposes. If the shot is made, she unlocks one yellow and possibly gets rid of another. Again, I don't think the houses are terribly lively, so and that's a really flat double, so she has to kick it sideways. Colleen doesn't like it.
Yeah, it almost looks like the last draw is a little bit higher, and they're about even actually when I look at the overhead camera.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make contact with that other yellow. You have to hit sort of 2/3 of that front, the center line yellow, and just try to kick it sideways. I definitely like making a play on some yellow here. I think the front end might feel the same way.
And lock that. Get the roll over at least a little bit.
If this was Kim's last rock, different story.
Yes.
Different story. But it's early in the end here. Or not early, but it's not late.
Team's having a good peek at it.
They are.
And I see out in the bleachers we have a good crowd out there tonight
There
watching.
is a good
Yeah,
crowd.
good crowd here. I'm not sure about downstairs, but great place to come and watch the games.
Yeah, it is.
And I think this is the third year that the Scotties in Tancred has been hosted here at the Dartmouth Curling
I
Club.
believe you're right, yeah.
And everybody here has done an excellent job organizing this, and just had a great week.
Okay, so I just saw the indication. I think what they're throwing here is kind of a back 8, back line tick on the yellows, which
Okay.
is curious. I just saw Kim tap both yellows. So she's playing it with...
So she's going to have
So she's unlocking the blue.
Right.
But I think she thinks she can sit 2 by just sort of ticking.
Oh.
We'll see.
And she's got
And I think
the-
she can sit 2 without throwing a whole lot of weight, but it still leaves 2 yellows in the rings.
And so, of course, this turn coming into the yellow will give her a little more spring than the other.
That's right.
But it goes a little lower, right?
That's right. That's right.
And those are-
It'll stay up a little more than an in-turn would. That's my understanding.
So this is quiet weight.
Looks like a guard.
Maybe more like... Ooh.
Oh, wow. What a shot.
Just don't know what that did for her.
I can do this. Do you want another one?
I mean, if that's crossing, I think you can basically nose that and get rid of both blues.
Knows that. That'll go
I
boom,
don't
boom.
think, well, I guess that will probably catch the yellow on the side, won't it, Pam? But if you hit
I
that,
don't know. I think
it might go behind it. It depends if she hits it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, she can play what she just played and
Yes.
sit second, third, and fourth.
Yeah. And I see Jill Brothers has put her winter coat on.
Yeah.
Must be cooling off out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Can be a cold old game for the skip.
Oh, it sure is. And after. And somehow the ends tend to take longer as the game goes on. You're going,
Or if the
"Oh."
shed is colder.
Yeah, yeah.
As a sweeper, of course, you're huffing and puffing the whole game.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it's over pretty quick. So she's looking to make a play on that blue.
Yeah, and again, she just wants to stay in the house anywhere at all, really.
That's pretty much what
Beautiful.
she called. What a great shot.
They've got to get rid of something here.
That blue is very vulnerable now to
It
sit
sure is, yeah.
for the 4 or for the 3, as you indicated,
Yeah.
setting up nicely.
Calling spidey senses are hard to argue with, I must say, but I do question not trying to get rid of at least one of those yellows on her previous shot. And maybe they felt they couldn't throw enough weight and hit that yellow rock thick enough to actually bounce that other one out of the rings.
It certainly needs some power on it, that's for sure. Nice little hit and roll could go a
They
long
could
way to
sit
help you
too,
out.
indeed, yeah. They would love to sit too, even if they rolled way over behind the corner guard here, Pam. That would almost be the ideal situation.
Right, on the capital D side of the sheet.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to give them a raise double of any kind. I guess you'd have to get a little unlucky to do that. But if I was looking at this, I'd be looking at having a big roll to sit back full 8 foot, but sort of on the tee line back here.
And she's got lots of ice
Does
there.
look like a lot of ice. I just heard her say 9-8, which would be,
That'd be
well, it's not
Sort of-
firm. Like 10 is kind of, I think, a regular hit weight for them these days. And 9.5 used to be our regular weight, but it's on keen ice, I would say 10. So 9-8 is kind of like a solid 10. Let's call it that.
10
Yeah.
with an out breath.
Solid. Don't throw a 10-2. Yeah.
And of course, those tenths of a second here and there certainly add up in terms of the amount of curl you're going to see on these rocks.
They really do. And, maybe 2/10 you can get away with, but if she threw this, if she's asking for a 9-8 and she throws a 10-2 or 10-3, it's going to over curl, based on the ice that they've got down there. So
This is moving.
I should have put a clock on it.
Little directional sweeping going on. Help it take the
Doesn't
curl.
want to roll out. And I'm not surprised that didn't curl because of the curl that they were getting on the intern coming this way,
yes.
Pam, a couple ends ago. So
Oftentimes you see it, if it's going one way hard, it's not
exactly.
as much the other.
Now sometimes that's every roll is, not always 100% right. But I was curious with that. I thought. And it seemed that almost those interns were curling a little more than expected as well. So
Agreed.
I thought that might have been. Anyway, this is going in Jill's favor. She has an end going her way. She definitely wants to roll away. Doesn't want to leave, some easy shot. There's only one stone to come from the opponents. So, and obviously they don't think that existing yellow double, well, that yellow rock will move a little bit too, which will make it even less likely, right? So if she hits and rolls away, it's going to be very hard for Kim with one rock to defend against giving up a 3 here.
And here we have Jill Brothers delivering her first, looking to unlock and maybe roll. Got the nose.
Yeah, should be able to peel those out. Oh, she's looking for that. Okay, that double.
Now it's up higher. That's a little more.
True.
A little less challenging.
True. I mean, the other double is to hit it on the intern side. You'd have to roll out to get those two gone. But I like this because I think you could end up being shot too if you spin in a bit. But yep. So she's looking for this double. It's definitely easier than the one that we were talking about for Colleen because it's basically a full rock higher, right? So
yeah. Little switch of the angles.
Kim will be just licking her lips to make this because she'd be disappointed having rolled out on her first. So.
And I think I just overheard from somebody that the Nova Scotia juniors are up in their game.
The females, I think I did too. Yeah, so the women are playing right now out in Langley, BC. Our Nova Scotia girls, my gosh, those Nova Scotia junior girls have
And
been
it's
so
actually-
strong for us. Anyway, up 1-0, I think, Pam,
And
after
it's
one
Chad
end.
Stevens' daughter is the skip.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, Kimberly. Lovely shot.
That was
Real
big.
happy about that. A deuce is way different than a 3. Yeah, that's too bad. Jill was really looking for a roll, anything away there. Yeah,
To prevent just exactly
to
what we
prevent
saw
exactly
there.
that. Yeah.
But still, she's going to be pretty happy
Yeah,
walking away
as
with
I
2
said,
here.
going into the end, a deuce is a change in momentum. To be honest, it's so it's just what the doctor ordered, and I'm sure it's exactly what they were game planning for this end.
And it changes the opportunity for strategy for the brothers team as well. They've had the hammer for a few ends now. It'll be
Exactly.
nice maybe to get rid of it.
Yeah, I want to go back to Chad Stevens' daughter is on this team.
Yeah, she's the skip, Taylor Stevens.
Okay, of course, I should have known that. And I know Jack Fleming's granddaughter is on that team. Jack, if you're listening, I don't think you went out. I think your wife
Yes.
did. And Colleen is out there,
Colleen
of
is out there,
course.
yep.
And also there's a Burgess girl on that team,
Yes, that's Lindsay Burgess.
Lindsay, and her sister plays for Manitoba.
It's her cousin, actually.
Oh, it's
Carly
her
Burgess.
cousin.
Yeah.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
okay.
So that was the deuce. Lovely. Well played end for both teams.
Yeah, interesting end. Well done, Jill. You deserve that, girl.
Yes, it's interesting. The Manitoba team is in first place, and the Nova Scotia team is in second. So the Manitoba team has Carly Burgess, and
Okay,
Lindsay
that's-
Burgess. Yeah,
Okay,
is on
so
the Nova Scotia team.
okay, right. And I think Carly followed a boy out there, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think it was that.
No?
I think some of the girls that she had been working with here had aged out,
Okay.
and she and one of the other girls that she played with last year, the two of
Okay.
them went out there.
Okay.
I think just to mix it up,
Fun. Nice.
and I think Carly is a committed
She
curler.
is a committed curler. I've talked to her parents before, and they just can't get over how
And she's
she's doing it on
yeah.
her own and just can't get enough.
And she's another sweeping machine.
Is she?
Ooh,
Yeah.
just a
So how old would she be now?
um,
Still a junior.
20.
So,
She would
okay,
be
yeah,
about
yeah.
20, I think. I think this is her
Okay.
last year of eligibility.
Right on. So sixth end is in the books. We got 4 ends left, and like I said right off the top of the broadcast, it all happens if it's a close game, it's all in the 8th, 9th, and 10th ends, and the 7th sets up for that. Obviously an important end. Colleen would love to blank, to have hammer an 8. It's always nice to score an 8.
And I often wonder, I have to admit to not playing 10 end games very often,
Yeah.
if ever, but I often think that the ice would change more and sort of deteriorate the further you get into the games.
I
and
would agree.
The skips really have to be on their toes.
I would agree. And not on all surfaces or not all the time, but without a doubt, the demands on the ice of a 10-end game are greater than. And then you've got to count. There's 2 9-minute practices before.
That's right.
Before the game as well. So that what's that? Another 20 minutes of activity on the ice as well. So it's a tall order, I tell you, for one little sheet of ice with only one set of pebble.
That's right.
To go.
That slide path must show some wear, all those feet
for
and
sure.
brooms and rocks sliding down.
So they did call for the come around around the long center guard that Jill threw, and Julie was a bit deep there.
Yeah, that's sliding to.
Yeah, and I'll tell you,
halfway
this
onto
is
the
just
back 12.
another memory. There's no chance Don Bartlett is listening, but another fellow lead who I got to know just from having played competitively at the national level and going to continental cups and with Don, and he was a lead, and this was his sneaky way of scoring 3.
Oh.
He said even if so he was lead for Kevin Martin. He said even if Kevin called it top 4, he goes, I put it back 12, and he goes, we'd get 3. So I'm not shouting that out as sort of the textbook way to get 3. I'm just saying that's a Donnie Bartlett strategy.
Well, we'll have to watch and see if it
and they
in
mentioned
this
Kevin Martin, who does some broadcasting for
Right,
Sportsnet,
for
mentioned
Sportsnet,
it on air a couple weeks ago. Something about that would be Donnie B's set up for a 3 or something like that. So Jill went to the intern. Interesting. I guess she had thrown the guard on the intern, so that's probably. So Juliet really has a chance to make this end look a lot better. Are they going for the inside flip? No, because they're sweeping it to keep it straight. So,
yeah.
Just a great
the back
shot.
Door, lovely shot. Nice control weight.
And it really forces Jill into having to hit. I mean, she's not going to sell the farm at this point, I don't think. Or maybe she will draw. No, she's going to hit. She's not going to.
That's a big
give
risk
them
to
the
take
chance
on.
to have 3 blues in the house this early in the end for sure. So.
And she just saw this hit being played. The ice
right.
should be clear, and
That's right. Oh, the game has been exciting, Pam, but the best is yet to come, I'm telling you.
The last few
It really
ends.
is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Yeah, she would have liked the double.
Yes, I think so.
But Colleen's not going to like, okay, she's not going to. She doesn't like either of those yellows, but she least likes the guard, and I don't blame her. She still has control of the game. She's up 1 with hammer.
And sitting shot.
The one thing that they don't want to do is give up a steal. You know,
Right.
they're happy to blank. They're happy to take 1. Obviously happy to take more than 1, but that would be the commitment. People have asked me what are they talking about when they get together at the hog line after an end? Mm-hmm. And our team always would, and this team does as well. Marianne's team does it as well. I think Jill's team too. After the end is over, the foursome does get together at the hog line, and some people go, what are they talking about? Like are they just sort of
Planning
wondering how their
supper?
kids are. Yeah, planning supper. And I said, no, it's a very clear, what are we going to do? Are we going to go up front? Are we going to go top 4? If they go top 4, are we going to throw the corner or are we not? Like it's a clear, let's get on the same page before the end even starts. And so I highly recommend, it's got to be quick because it annoys everybody if you can't sit out and discuss, but
No.
you should have, it's one of those little opportunities to just make sure everybody's on the same page with what the first couple of rocks of the end are going
Right.
to look like. So, and what your objective is, we'll keep a blank in mind here. We'll take our deuce if it kind of gets handed to us, but we really want a blank. Like
Right.
just something that makes sure everybody's on the same page. So Colleen got rid of the guard. Jill's not going to replace it. She doesn't like that back blue. So Jill is, really going to try to force them to 1 and get the
she
hammer back in 8.
covered the lid with that one.
Yeah, nice draw weight.
And Colleen's indicating the hit and roll on this one. Open up that center again so that...
Open up that center and sit second and third shot in the rings with hammer. So, Jill has shot rock, but that's pressure. It adds a little more pressure on the shots upcoming. Sheena definitely wants to stick around here. She does not want to roll out.
Ooh, that was really nice. Didn't go the way that she had planned, though.
Yeah, but she made the double, basically, right? Yeah, it's super shot. Well done. She's looking for the gold star this end. The yellow stayed in the rings, though, so if a double is made by Jill's team and they've got a few chances at it, it could still be a force. So another interesting end, Pam.
No two are ever alike.
No, and you think after all my years, I would say, okay, I've seen this before. I don't have a very good memory either, so that might be part of the problem.
Based on the information and the stories. Memory seems pretty good to me.
Oh, so close.
Oh, boy, that was close.
So close, yeah. So now they're going to try to spread these rocks out. Without a doubt, where blank might have been the original, the original plan, which I expect it was. They're not going to throw a deuce back, if it's offered. So.
Right. So a little bit of back and forth here between Kim and Colleen. There was, do you like going open? Do you like coming in and flirting around those two yellows as catchers?
And being, exactly. And back to specific rock placement here. Do you want this top 8 or back 8?
Right.
And I'm not sure what they decided on.
The last broom touch was on the top 8 edge. Yeah.
Top 4. Okay. Top sort of on the T line-ish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, in front of the tee was the last call I saw.
Doesn't look heavy.
Does not. Kim's coming out to give the girls a break.
Much of that throw was down the slide path, so they just want to outcount that back yellow.
And a little short.
Nada, yeah. Yeah, a little, it was traveling through the slide path the whole way, and it curled a ton, Pam. Look at,
just at the end there.
It's trying to remember where Kim's ice was, but it was kind of middle of the forefoot, I think, right? I mean, that curled a ton. So Jill's got the chance, definitely wants to take advantage of this to hit and sit 2, does not want to roll out.
Kim has other things in mind as she pounds that out the back door, though.
Now, having said that, at least her yellow rock is protected a bit, but it still gives Kim and Colleen a chance to go offense. They're kind of forced into it, whether they want it or not. I mean, if that back yellow was available, I would see them hitting it because they would want to keep the blank alive.
Yeah.
But they're forced into drawing around the corner. Not a horrible option, let's say.
Looking at edge of button here, looking to go fully buried, I would think, with the end result.
You know what? As long as you buried a piece here, you're good. I mean, obviously fully buried would be perfect. You want something where they can't hit it and stay.
Right.
If they have to hit it and roll out, you're fine.
So be it.
Ideally, definitely in front of the tee. And yeah, as much buried as you can be and shot rock. Colleen's not going to miss this. This is her second throw on this, so. They're sweeping for line and weight again?
I think so.
Yeah, so they just want to tuck a corner. Yeah, it's a great shot.
Wow, that really snuggled in there nicely.
It really did at the end, didn't it, Pam?
Yeah.
It's hard for us to see how much is showing there because we're sitting directly behind sheet B and the game's being played on C. Looks like she can definitely get it, and she would love to stick around, but this is a rock first situation. Chad Stevens still slugging it out over in Sheet D, Pam. My gosh. They've thrown a lot of granite today.
I sure have.
And his daughter's playing on national TV. Yeah. Okay, here comes Jill with an out turn.
Erin was on that early, but she seems to be
Yeah.
on and off now. A little more serious pressure at this point
Yeah.
when she did not roll up.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Lovely shot.
Great shot. Yep, so Kim wants to try to sneak back over to this side. I mean, again, they're not unhappy to have to take a point. They would have preferred the blank, I think, to have hammer an 8, but you don't always you'll get what you'll get and you'll like it, as Kim would say. You'll get what you'll get and you'll like it. So, yeah.
You pretty well have to make the most of it either way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so many times in a curling game and in a curling career where you just have to learn to, you take what the game gives you. You know, you take what an opposing strategy gives you. You take what ice conditions give you, and you really just, you have to accept it and bless it and move on, you know. And that sounds like such an obvious statement, but I can tell you, you have to practice doing that as well, you know, and really accept that stuff's going to happen, you know. Our longtime coach, Ken, this is a great shot, would say you have to expect the blips, you know, especially if you're in a long event. And if you go into prepared, you know you're prepared, you've prepared in a way that you believe in, so you should trust that going into an event, and expect that there are going to be blips, there are going to be highs and lows, there's going to be things that are going to happen outside of your control, and you expect it. And so therefore when it happens, you don't go, oh man, like why me, and why did that happen to me? And we literally used to go, oh, there it is. Like one time our driver slept in and the brooms were in his trunk, and we had to call a cab to get to practice, and we go, oh, well, there's one of the blips that Ken told us would happen. And we go, okay, like that's a blip, we'll move on.
Yes, have it not knock you off your game.
Exactly, and just not change your mood or change your attitude or change your set of expectations. Kim had a great roll there, so Jill's would love to roll away a bit without rolling out, although it looks like they're going to be forced to one whether she rolls out or not, with that yellow one protected. Yeah. So, yeah, she doesn't really have to stay here at all.
But she does anyway.
Yeah, so Kim's got a decision, obviously forced to one. Is she going to hit it or is she going to draw? I don't think they're too crazy about drawing down that slide path in the 7th end by the looks of this. So, yeah, and this is where a nose hit is that meat and potato shot that you practice and practice and practice. It's something that we used to practice a lot.
Right.
Just nose hits, you know. People practice, and you have to practice everything, but that was a very important asset, you know, a very important skill. So Kim is really happy that she practices nose hits.
And then it's routine. You don't worry. Routine. You don't get as amped up about the shot. You don't overthrow it, hopefully.
You got to go on this.
It's curling in there. Oh, she just rolls out.
It did roll out.
Yeah. Yeah. It might have stayed in for a wee little bite, but the yellow.
You know, something else, and we've again, sometimes you have to learn the same lessons over and over again. And I do wonder, that rock was so far at the back of the house, and there's a pretty good curl, and you know the broom. You just wonder if that wasn't the same ice that you might give if the rock was on the button.
Yes.
Right. Yep. And in fact, it's got another 6 feet of curl.
Yep.
We've made that mistake before. I'm sure all teams do. And I just wonder in that situation if there was any consideration given to the fact that it had
so
6
deep.
more feet. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just discussing that today on practice.
Yeah. And it's just one of those details. There's so much to learn in what sometimes looks like a pretty obvious game, but
and shots down center, the ones out on the 4 or 8 foot, sometimes feel more predictable. Sometimes those shots down center can.
Center line can often be a finicky place in the ice
Yes,
shed.
yeah.
For sure, center lines can be. This one doesn't look particularly finicky. It
No.
looks like rocks will cross center. It doesn't look like there's a big hang on either side of center line, but center lines can be, like hairlines. You can
Right.
have cowlicks and double crowns, and they are finicky. They can be finicky, but no, I haven't noticed that at all this week. So tie game, folks, but as Colleen would have to say, tied going into 8 with hammer is a situation that you're happy with,
Yes.
generally. They're obviously, it's always disappointing not to execute a shot that you wanted to in the last end,
But you have 2 hammers to their 1.
2 hammers to their 1, and Colleen would be looking to score this end. I wouldn't be surprised, given the chance to blank or score, that she might even take 1. We've discussed this many, many times. We'll just see how the end plays out, but she definitely wants to score an 8. Any team would.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even if your opponent blanked the next end, you're still up 1.
Exactly.
home.
Well, and that's right. And so if you do take 1, say you're up 1 playing 9, you're desperately trying to force that team to take 1.
Yes.
And our strategy was like, well, if you give up 2, at least you've got hammer coming home. You're down 1. You've got the advantage of having some guards and to score your deuce coming home. But so Julia's coming around the center guard.
This one she'd like to be above tee, I think.
Absolutely. She was a little deep on this shot last time. That's a tiny bit deep, but it's in the range of acceptable for sure. That's a shot as a lead. I'd go, I'm okay with that, but I'll tell you in a minute, because it depends on what the next one's going to do. Like if she locks this on, I'm going to go, sugar. That should have been a foot higher. But
Yeah. Depending what happens next. that
yeah,
might have
exactly.
been a
I'll
great
tell you in a
shot.
minute. Yeah.
I see we had a change of turn here. Jill's instinct was to go with the in, but her thrower preferred the out, I think.
Got lots of room right now.
Sure does. Sweepers
See,
aren't
it hasn't
touching
kind of
this.
found its way to the slide path yet, right? So
Yeah.
it seems to,
Diving now.
there it goes.
Yeah.
And it catches the slide path and turns and slows. Yeah, a little chap off though.
Little up. She was probably, what do you think, just behind 4 foot if she was on her own?
And this is curious. And so what Colleen's think, I think she would have been full back 8
Okay,
even,
yeah.
So Colleen is really smart right now. Very tempting to go up and hit that yellow and lie too. But the situation for Jill right now with that blue one just behind the button would be a lip licker, because
Right.
you'd be going, that looks great. So Colleen's going to she said, I can't leave Jill that. I can't leave
Right.
Jill that shot. I'm going to take it away from her. So she wants to be ideally just full 8, buried a piece. She definitely wants to bury a piece. It's a great shot.
Well placed for sure.
Yeah, so equally, with the scoring in 8, Jill would just be dying to steal one in 8, right? So it would just completely change the
So all the
momentum of the
skips are
game.
feeling this
Jill
is
hasn't
pivotal.
had the lead yet, right?
Right.
So, and if there was ever an end to steal, it would be right now. The 8th end, and the strategy that you see in the 8th end is just so curious. At 8th, 9th, and 10th, Pam, like, buckle up. The rest is yet to come, I'm telling you. Yeah.
This is drifting a bit. Just coming
Yeah,
down.
they've really been throwing well tonight.
yeah.
And of course, I would expect no less.
Little sweeping.
Definitely wants to remove that rock.
And hangs around to be some trouble.
Right on, yeah. So now Colleen's got a decision to make. It's not that she would want a blank. It's not looking like a blank. So it's interesting that she's choosing to do this now.
Oh,
It's
meeting
basically the
tide.
same situation, although maybe she's not real happy that the yellows are building up, but not a whole lot of point in peeling right now, because you're not ever going to be looking for the blank. I don't, by the looks of the rocks in their house right now. I don't know, Pam. What do you like right now?
Well, I still see the big risk of Jill coming in and sitting on top of that blue.
Me too.
And
so why would why would a skip change their mind? That's what she saw the first time. I liked the call of kind of coming down and closing that path to Jill. I think I continue to like it.
I still do,
Yeah, I think I
especially
do
where
too.
Jill has got two sitting out in the wings there.
Yeah.
Now
the
blank
other
is
thing Colleen might be
run.
thinking is if she were to hit and kind of roll, would Jill sort of sell the farm and say, okay, no, I know there's two blue. I don't think Jill would hit the open one. I think she would love the looks of that. Okay, well, we'll see.
We'll find
won't we?
out.
I'm gonna bet that Jill will ignore. If she hits and
And come
stays, I'm
down
gonna
and
bet
sit
that
on the
Jill
blue?
will come. That's what my bet is now. Everything I've guessed wrong so far. So
Hard to know what the other person's thinking.
we need our poker chips.
Sometimes it's fun to do the unexpected, you know, to see exactly what
I can
the
tell
other
you one
skip
thing
will do.
Colleen doesn't want us to roll in.
And she will not.
Okay, that's exactly what she wanted. Yep. But you got to make it.
Yes.
You know,
it has to be really good.
You don't make it, and three's in the picture for
That's
the other
right.
team. But I love the call. And at some point, there are shots that always come along in a game, and you know it when you're throwing it. I got to make this, you know. And this is a must make.
So the meeting, I guess, in retrospect, was how aggressive should we be here? Should we try for?
I think, yeah, I guess so. I'm a little confused as to why Colleen changed her mind. She was the one that changed her mind, and I think that the team, but she would have a reason, Pam. She would. It's she has a.
This is curling in nicely.
Pistol.
No, bounce and covers the lid.
Yeah.
That was love.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take 1, 2, 3. You got to peel that. Then even if you got to throw 2 in a row, you still couldn't get rid of it, right? So it's going to take 3 rocks for Colleen to be able to be shot rock. And that's if the other team doesn't throw. Think you could talk them into that?
I don't think you can. No. Look, good peel, though. And Jill's going to keep them busy out front doing that.
Yeah.
Happy to steal.
Oh,
Happy to steal with that
super
point.
happy to steal, yeah. So anything out there, again, if it's too long, it's not very useful. But Jill doesn't want them to have too many chances at unlocking that yellow rock.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
you
an
don't want it too
absolute.
tight, for
so
sure.
far, Sarah is looking for the gold star this end because that was the perfect shot. And ladies and gentlemen, she plays second stone. So it's not always the thirds and the skips that make this
The gold star?
yeah, and that make the game-changing shot. That could well be the game-change shot.
Absolutely. That's a great guard, halfway.
Yeah.
Covers what it needs to cover, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, what Colleen's going to decide here is she probably could come, push it back, and yes, you can peel, but I think she thinks this might be, the next guard might be even better than this.
Right.
So if the next guard came in another 4 feet tighter, a little more over the center line, the shot she's playing now won't be there. So I think she's thinking, I got to get at this. Jill looks like she wants a timeout,
Yeah.
Taylor. Jill seemed to be signaling that she wanted a timeout.
I think her hands are cold.
Oh, maybe her hands are cold.
Yeah, and she's shaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she was just shaking. Okay, sorry. I'm misleading the coach there.
I thought it
Yeah.
as well to start.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I'm trying to do all the jobs here.
Well, she did look up, and I saw her hands going. I was like, well, she
Yeah.
can't call timeout. She's
I know. Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, so we would call this a jiggle. Like she's looking for back 4 weight. She just wants to kind of corner freeze that front yellow rock and just release the blue one from behind it.
This is one of those expert shots from the mixed doubles teams,
Oh, yeah?
right?
You see this a lot? Yeah.
Well, for mixed doubles, yeah.
well, and Colleen and Luke did very well in the mixed doubles actually this year. I think they came third, maybe. This looks really close.
Sweepers on and off. Team seems to like it.
She doesn't want to roll off too much, but she wants, oh my gosh.
That was great.
Yeah. Colleen Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful draw
Yeah,
there.
beautiful shot.
Just the right weight and so on.
Yeah. Perfect shot. And I'll tell you, well, no, maybe not. I was going to say, can they see enough of that to pick it on the out-turn side, but I don't think so. Jill still has a great position here, too, to steal.
Guarding for her life at this point, are we?
Yeah, guarding for her life. Yeah, this is when you look for the bigger rock.
Yeah.
So that you throw the big fat guard. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, for Colleen, she can run anything back in there now. And it doesn't matter what color it is, because that blue one's not going anywhere, right? So that was okay, yeah. That, it depends who wins the end here.
Now we do call the
yeah,
timeout.
There we go. Timeout.
And I would think, I saw her put the broom down to look like she was considering a freeze in against that blue, but I would think that would be risky.
Don't get that. I don't understand that, because they would definitely use whatever she puts up here. If it's not crossed with that front guard, I'm going to say the other team will be slamming in.
Yes.
Like
it's ammunition,
wherever they put.
Colleen's team.
So the closer you put it, the easier it's going to be. We'll see. Very interesting. The game continues to entertain.
It's a pivotal end and probably a pretty important shot, I think, relative to the outcome of this end.
Indeed. Well, the 8th and Pam.
The 8th and 10.
It's always. It's always.
And I'm not sure what the camera is looking at, but it sometimes the skips are pointing to where they want their rock, and sometimes they're pointing to, what they don't want.
What might happen.
What happened when the other
that's
team
true.
throws,
That's
exactly.
True. The coach of Marianne Arsenault's team just walked in the building, probably having a look at the sheet. Where's the final tomorrow? Which sheet is it on, Stuart? What sheet is the final on tomorrow? Probably D.
D,
Yeah, okay, so it is on sheet D,
yeah.
as you said, Pam, because that's where the sponsorship is, yeah.
So I guess at this point we can thank our volunteers, the timers, the officials, ice makers. Head ice technician is Tracy Froud. And the host chair of this event is Lynn Burgess, and it's her third time at this. So
I heard that this afternoon on the broadcast.
These volunteers are tireless and have certainly put on a good show this week.
They have, and I can tell you the curlers so appreciate it. Like, I have been the benefactor of so many events where so many volunteers, and I do find myself leaving the events sincerely thankful that people have given up their time to create an arena and an atmosphere that we get to and play the game we love. So a sincere thank you to all the volunteers and all of the organizers and officials, etc. We do appreciate it. Okay, looks like a guard ice to me.
I think so.
Yeah, although it could be, I don't know. Looks like more weight than a guard to me, Pam.
This is Erin's last.
She's definitely coming right in.
Not a heck of a lot more than, it's not making a lot of.
I see the plan. Yeah, I think. Can you get that on the out turn at all? They're not even looking at this out turn side, but if you catch it, that blue's not going to leave the rings. I think they should have a look at least on this out turn.
Yeah. To whack the yellow into the blue, and the yellow goes out the back door.
Colleen's making a face. She doesn't like it. But it might be... Mind you, she might have it straight on the blue, too. She might be able to throw the exact same shot she just threw, right? Would she sit too?
So Kim is lining up the hit on the yellow.
Yeah, I think she could sit too.
She's looking at the run back.
Well, you know what's interesting about this situation is that she does have a shot on either side right now, right? And so you could say, I'm always going to have that. So if she peels and let Jill cover some, but Jill might just come in even deeper and block both. But to me, it looks like she has a chance to sit shot rock either, on either turn right now. So if the out turn's there, I love it. I think it's hard to sit 2 on the in turn.
I'll be out there for the next one, don't worry.
And also, it leaves Jill with such an easy little jack back on that yellow rock that's there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, she's going to peel. And I said this on the broadcast the other night too, when in doubt, peel. It's almost never the wrong call.
It is the one
it's
that's
almost
causing them trouble.
It is.
Right.
It is indeed, yeah.
And so they have just called timeout. So the 8th end is making everybody take a second thought.
Colleen does a coach or a 5th, so it's a timeout just to talk more amongst themselves. We can't see the time clocks from here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't think either team is in trouble. Yeah, I wonder if Sheena's thinking if you play that with any kind of weight, well, that's what they're pointing at. I don't know if you guys can see that at home. If any kind of weight that the yellow might bounce, just ever so slightly, at least sideways, to move the yellow out further into the open as well. It looks like the front end basically created this timeout, I think, because they'd kind of decided on the peel, right? So I think as they headed down, they kind of went, wait a minute.
Additional information.
Let's all decide, yeah. Okay.
And that's good.
I'm going to say same
in.
shot that she just threw. Looks like almost the identical ice. Might be a little less ice, so maybe she might be throwing a little more weight.
Little to bonk the yellow just back a bit.
The double bump. She would to... It doesn't really matter if she sits 2 right now. There's a lot of blue, and if she makes this, there's a lot of blue in the rings.
Yeah, the yellow could look lonely pretty quickly.
Key shot.
What a great end. So much patience.
Indeed.
Makes me happy I'm not the coach or the parent of the person throwing the last rock.
It's so much harder to watch as an interested party than to play.
And I was speaking with Selena Thompson the other day when we were doing commentary on another sheet, and I said it's interesting to see things differently as a player, as a coach, or as a parent, or just a commentator.
Right on.
You get a very different feel.
That's a very good point.
It's easiest to be a player.
So they're trying to make this curl now. Colleen definitely has more weight than she had on her last, whether she was tending to or not.
So rolling out.
Yeah.
Unlock the back.
Yeah, and then what she's left is exactly what we talked about. However, she's got to be careful, because even if she makes it, she can't roll out, or there's a shot for 3. I think Colleen, I don't think she could have stayed to be second shot, or that weight at least. So it didn't really matter that she rolled out, Pam. I mean, you're sitting second, third, and
it would just
fourth.
be a catcher,
it wouldn't really matter if you were sitting second, third, fourth, and fifth, right? So that was a great shot. Jill's got to be super careful here.
Is she just looking to punch that back, do you think? Or is she going to clean it right?
I think she's got to be careful to leave 2 yellows. Okay, interesting. She got to be careful to leave, if she does want to make a play on that, not to leave 2 yellows where they can be easily removed, right? She sure as heck doesn't have all of that yellow one, right? Because she might have half of it. So the kind of weight that you would need to remove that blue rock, if you only have half a rock, chances are you're rolling out.
Yes.
So
yeah,
she's got to be careful. A lot of discussion
there sure
in
is.
The 8th end.
Everybody's wondering if they're going to...
critical. It's so critical.
A lot of glances up at the time clocks. Everybody's wondering if they'll still have time left in the 10th, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jill's gone from thinking, boy, we've got a good chance to score this end, to mitigating damages right now. She's clearly looking to make sure she doesn't give up
Right.
a big end.
Yeah, you'd hate to give up 3 or even 2 is.
Yeah, I mean, there's still 4 rocks to come.
There is.
So this isn't going to look the same like in
No.
another couple rocks. We still got 4 rocks left to come.
There's lots of opportunity for change.
Yeah, super interesting end.
I see a few of the spectators have taken shelter to warmer
Yeah, they
areas.
have. What's going on with the men over there?
Well, they are playing the 8th.
6, 7, 8. So Chad would have hammer, down 4. He's got a couple blues in the house, but there's an awful lot of yellows there too.
There is. And it looks like he's
He's
keying up for
got
last.
hammer, right?
Yeah.
So he's looking for a way to get 2. That's tricky. I
Sure
don't know how he
is.
can get rid of both of
I
those
don't
without getting
know.
rid of his own. Okay, back to our sheet. Jill's throwing. I'm going to go with a guard based on that ice. She might be coming in. I know Erin was looking at sort of corner freezing on the front yellow, but this looks like a lot of ice for that.
Well, we'll see what the decision is.
No, looks like more than guard weight.
It does. Swipers haven't put a lick to it yet. Waiting for
Oh, here it comes.
close.
4.5. Yeah, that's what. That was Erin's call. Now, does Colleen have to guard that situation? Can Jill raise that back onto the blue without running into her yellow? I wonder. I don't know.
I don't know.
If she'd moved it just a hair more, it would have been a little bit better for Jill. It's a pickle. Oof, I don't know about that, Colleen.
They're nested in there closely.
You don't want to make a shot for them, that's for sure.
I'm looking to blast.
Oh, I don't know if I like this. Here comes Sheena. Mind you, I don't know what else you do. If you guard it, Jill can definitely get rid of the blue by hitting this outturn one thinly, right? But then you only have to outdraw that yellow one that's there. You'd only have to draw full
Right.
4 foot for 1. And again, when I said 1 and 8 is huge, you don't want to give up 1.
So based on the ice, there should be some weight behind this.
Yes, Pam.
Just a normal hit, but still.
Well, and you want those yellows to be moving. So, and I'm going to say she wants to hit pretty slim bit of this. It's a lot of ice.
It looks like the yellow hits yellow first, and then,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. I
So
don't know
that
how it
goes.
doesn't make contact with the blue. Let's see what she's got. It's
There we
looking like
go.
at least 9.5 seconds. So they're sweeping to make it curl right now. Sheena's. No, it's just an 11. So it's
Just
just
an
board
11.
weight. Oh. Yeah,
So the yellow did go into the blue,
it did.
rolled the shooter out.
And blue is shot. I don't know if that looks like it's dead behind the
It
guard right
sure
now, Pam,
does.
from our angle at
It
least.
Sure does.
So,
Pretty hard to get that blue out of there at this point.
well, if it's dead buried, you know. But the other thing they still have to be careful of, like, say they were able to come back enough to move that blue back, they wouldn't want to leave their 2 yellows in a position for a double because this back blue one would be second shot. They don't want to give up
Right.
more than 1 point here.
So I mean, they
Yeah,
could-
I expect just. Wow, mind you, a guard doesn't do them any good either,
No.
right? I mean, Colleen's not making a play on anything. They would be, if anything, they should be guarding whatever they think the easiest draw is,
right.
which I would say is the outturn.
I think it is as well.
Yeah.
looked more natural looking to me.
In fact, he needs full 4.
Oh, that's right.
You know, you could
Yeah,
almost hit this yellow and roll in.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not sure what they're guarding over there. I mean, Colleen's never going to make a play on that yellow.
No, I don't think it's even available for a play.
No.
Perhaps they see something we don't.
Maybe they do, Pam. And okay, I'll tell you something else. And this would be something else she indicated earlier was to draw the button herself.
Right.
Like to try to get in there and get a piece of the button herself. That must be what, because
Must
the
be.
guard on that side doesn't
No.
really help her.
If she was a bit heavy, she might bump into the blue in the back of the
Yeah.
house and shrink that
No,
scoring.
she's
area.
guarding.
Guarding.
Every guess I've
Okay.
made has been wrong. She's guarding, but I'm just not sure what she's guarding. So, full 4.
Yep. Colleen broom
Yeah,
down
big
before
point here.
before the other rock comes to a stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Colleen's first shot of this end turned the end around entirely. You know, that little kickback. It really put Jill into a position where she was trying to protect against giving up more than one, whereas I think she was thinking she could steal the end.
prior to that, yeah.
So really, really fun 8th end to watch.
I always say I might throw a good rock and I'll be so pleased with it until
Yeah.
the other person delivers.
Well, exactly. I'll tell you in a minute whether I like it or
Exactly.
not. So Kim hasn't thrown a draw for a while.
No, Reapers are on it, but not panicked.
I got a
Curling now.
1475 on it. It should be awfully close. They're not sweeping hard. She was never had the line.
Needed a bit more
What?
broom.
Yeah, if she got out to it.
And I guess maybe they didn't want to.
But you know, without a doubt, they should have had more ice because they did not need to get to the center
no,
line
you
on
didn't
that
need to
draw.
come around.
They only needed to get middle of the 4-foot on this side.
you could have gone back behind.
So
tee.
again, that's a little detail. It's funny when you put that brush down. It's probably the broom that you might be thinking for draw to the button, right? But you didn't need the line for draw to the button there. So
And that's
anyway,
a little thing
folks,
later in a game you might.
I still, Colleen should still be happy. She scored an 8. Jill's happy that they didn't get more than 1. Everybody's happy.
I think so.
Yeah, I do. 9th end. If you thought the 8th end was interesting, the 9th end's even more interesting. Colleen's desperately going to be trying to get Jill to score 1. And Jill's going to be desperately trying to either score more or blank. Yeah, that was a big point for Colleen for a lot of reasons. She'd just given up 3 straight points, Pam, even though it's really not about the past ends. There is a thing called momentum.
Yeah,
That is
there is.
one time where Colleen definitely wanted that rock out front.
Yep, she definitely had a broom on the
100%
Deloitte.
because it's trying to force the play into the center line, and Jill's not going to
No.
play around with corner guards because she's been given the chance to blank this end
Yeah.
right off the get-go. So she's happy. Yeah.
Now, at least with the 5 rough, the lead will have another shot at that same, assuming she rolls away.
If she rolls out.
Yes, if she rolls
See,
out.
but if she knows hits here,
Which it
blanks
looks
on.
good. Yeah.
We could take a coffee break, Pam, because I'm telling you, this is going to just go up and down the sheet. Yeah, and even if Colleen hit and rolled out here, I think you'd see a guard out of Jill. She's not going to try to get her deuce this end. She wants hammer in 10.
And she did manage to get 2 with hammer in the 6th.
She did. That's the thing. Without a doubt, there will always be a chance for a deuce. Like there will, as long as you don't skip yourself out of having a shot. Which is sometimes the case when you get too anxious to get a deuce. But there will be a chance for 2,
Right.
like in 10.
Yeah.
100%. Like there's just too many available to not have a chance for a deuce.
So this is a nose hit drill again.
Yep. Yeah, the hit drill.
Yeah.
We call it the hit drill. Yeah.
Now that one's in an interesting position. It's half on the 12-foot and out in the free guard
Right on.
zone. So a nose hit may leave you in
No,
a
because
guard.
they don't have hammers. So Colleen already,
Oh,
her
she
2
wants-
free guards are
right.
already
Oh,
gone.
no, I know, but it might leave, if you nose hit it, you'll be a guard rather than in the rings.
Oh, I
That's
see
all.
what you mean. You
Yeah.
think Jill might choose to go around it.
I don't know.
She might. I think Jill would rather
Keep her
save
clean.
her deuce for 10. Yeah, I do. I tell you one thing this does is it does put a lot of pressure on the skip to convert the blank.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done at times.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice on quick ice, and easier than 13-second ice or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Drawing out
oh
to
my
the wing.
gosh! So Kendall stole the 8th end.
Mm-hmm.
So Chad is down 5-9. Good for him. And the theory is, take 3, steal 2.
Yes.
Yeah, there. It's easy to say. Must be easy to do.
Must be.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's getting into his 27th or so.
Oh my gosh. And yeah,
today.
yeah.
28, 29.
Good old-fashioned hit drill. This is interesting too. Sometimes Colleen will, as defensive as she can appear, sometimes she looks at freezing.
Mm-hmm.
To try to end up with 2 rocks in the ring so she can really force Jill to take a point. She doesn't want Jill to blank this end.
Right.
And so you would wonder, what the heck are they discussing
So
right
it's
now?
the
Like, this
freeze.
is just it.
Yep.
She's considering the freeze.
Mm-hmm. And that's
But
a
I
super
fully
tough
expect
shot.
that Kim talked her out of it.
Oh, do you think?
Because she doesn't want to give up a deuce either.
Right.
But that's what Colleen
Yep.
was pondering there.
Is this the time to freeze? Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't need a perfect, you just need a freeze where, I don't know. But that is, I expect that's what she was thinking about.
And Kim is on this right out of her hand.
Yeah.
Initially for line, I think, and maybe a little for weight as we're getting closer. Nice nose
Yeah, and
hit.
Kim likes to sweep.
Mm.
Like, when in doubt, Kim will sweep. Yeah.
Well, you can always feel like you're making a difference that way.
Oh, for sure. Well, so much for the entertaining 9th end that I promised.
Well, the 10th will be juicy.
But again, okay, back to lead back to
Well.
lead rocks and whether they matter or not. That first stone, and Julia has played amazing, but that was a very critical.
Sets the tone for the whole
It
end.
does, and
Yeah.
it just changes the whole next 2 ends. It changes the rest of the
Right.
game. Okay, now this is interesting. You get the rollout; they get a second chance for the this center guard. This is the only time in the history of our games would we ever throw a center guard in this situation in the 9th end when you're trying to. You'd never ever see this in any other end.
Just because push it for
Just
force.
because you're pushing so hard for the force and to get them to score 1 and 9, yeah. And they want Jill to go around this.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's sort of shows the importance of knowing the playbook and, being ready to, especially sets in later in a game. It's nice
Yes,
to
exactly.
have that backup.
We used to, we had it written down on the back of a check. Because it's the only paper we had at the time once when we were ready. We used to, okay, what do we do when it's tied an 8th, and we wrote it down, and honest to God, we'd stand at the hog line, get out that old check
Yeah.
and look at the back of the check. Okay, 9th, 1 up and 9. What do we do? True story. Yeah, so Jill's not going to be fooled.
Oh dear, somebody's happy.
Although, even if this ends up rolling as a corner guard, Colleen loves it. Because it's something for her to,
Right,
hide
to hide
behind to
behind.
force. So these peels are super important. It's not just enough to get it off the center line.
Get
Being a
it.
corner guard is not what they want either, because that can create the force.
So throwing up the center guard again, I suspect,
Yes,
and waiting for the other
definitely,
team to make
yeah.
a wee little mistake.
Yeah. It's amazing how different the strategy is in the 9th end, Pam, really. Because how many times would you be down, peeling a center guard and not wanting a corner guard?
Right.
Not very often,
Right.
right? But they
Because they
really
want the
don't
blank.
now. They
Yeah.
do not want to give Colleen a chance to force them to 1. It's interesting for sure.
And I'm sure some folks may have heard some excited roaring in the background that the Thompson-Stevens game has come to a conclusion with Kendall Thompson on top. So he will meet Jamie Murphy tomorrow in the final at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Long day for Team Stevens. They'll take in some well-earned R&R, I think.
Yes, indeed. Straight peel. And again, the pressure's to make sure it doesn't stay anywhere out front. Ooh. Yeah,
Well,
and that's enough of an error that you could force the force, right? You could force the point, yeah.
Yeah, that's the opening that they wanted to
Now, having
see.
said that, Kim's got to be careful here because it also opens up the opportunity for Jill to score 2 as well. Never would you see a team be playing around a corner guard except in the ninth end in this situation. So the rules change.
Especially when you don't have last rock.
When you don't have last rock. You'd never see a team doing this. But it's all about trying to get a rock somewhere where Jill's going to have to just outdraw it and take her one.
Now, would you see it sometimes if a couple of teams leave the ice, you'll hear people remark that things change temperature-wise and so on. The spectators have left, and
they can. My spidey sense says that's not the case in this. It's so cold out there that I don't think it's going to get much colder. So I'm going to say the ice can really change, and plus there are only 2 sheets out there to begin with. So yeah.
So this one, I can't tell from our angle.
I think
on
she's
the overhead,
got almost all of it.
On the overhead shot, it looks a little tucked under, but...
So Jill wants to stick around here, for sure. She doesn't want to give Kim that draw again. So roll in the ring somewhere that Kim obviously has to hit it. And give Kim the smallest chance of rolling back around behind the corner guard. So that might have been Kim's only... Kim had... in fact, would have preferred to be back 12 there. This one, and again, another situation you say often you don't want to be behind the corner tee line. That would have been beautiful behind the tee line. And then Jill would have probably tried to turn it into a deuce somehow. But I'm going to say, again, that stone would have traveled all the way down the sheet through the slide path, right? So I'm going to say that in the ninth end, fair enough. Decisive has worked hard today. And a little tired of being curled on. Yeah, well done,
hit
Jill.
and roll.
Colleen would also be looking at rolling that far enough to see if she could draw around this, you know what I mean? But she wouldn't take the chance of giving up the deuce. So Kim wants to stick around here and challenge Jill to her blanking skills. So the ninth end did end up being a little draw, Pam. Yeah.
Some good talking points for sure.
Well, it's so, I've never sort of thought of it that way, how reversed so many rules are in the ninth end versus other ends. Yeah.
Especially in a close game where it's tied or one up, one down. Yeah. Nobody looks panicked
they're
here.
sweeping to curl. Yeah, got it.
A little bounce towards center. Gives a different shot, which is always good.
Fairly routine blank here. The rock's, fairly deep. You always like having to roll it too far to get to roll it out.
Do you think there's a spot that's the hardest for rolling out?
Sometimes, Pam, you would look at maybe trying to find a spot that's tough. Kim didn't have much choice there, really, in what was going to go on there. She didn't want to give her the easy blank by rolling out herself. So, yeah. And this is a pressure shot right now,
Yeah. To be forced into the nose.
She does not want to nose hit this.
No.
Yeah, not happy. After all that. Yeah.
And that's the good thing about moving. Kim rolled a little bit, gave it a new path, give you different ice, something else to think about.
For sure. Yeah.
You don't want to give a good thrower the same shot twice. They're just going to make it better the second time.
That surprises me. Jill's a little, well, she's not a girl, but she's a little female that can throw a lot of weight, and she blanks very efficiently. Yeah.
All tied up now, coming home in the 10th.
Yeah.
Colleen Jones has hammer.
I can guarantee you it'll be an interesting 10th. Yeah. It will not be with Pam.
I wonder how the time clocks look. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I
see,
don't
but I can't quite.
Typically, these are two really quick teams.
Okay.
Like these are both notoriously quick teams. Obviously, the 8th then took a lot of discussion, but these two girls are both known to be quick skippers.
One of them 30 left.
Yeah.
And that's tons of time.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see the other one. But
And timeout-wise,
do they
Taylor, how many timeouts do you guys have left? And Colleen? None.
None.
Okay, so we're just getting word from the coaches and the
Right.
officials. Jill has one timeout left, doesn't have any. But did you see what time the other team had? 5 minutes at?
I can see 3 minutes and 55 on one, and I still can't see the other one.
Okay. So that should be plenty. The team gets 38 minutes to start, and it's thinking time as it's been described and explained, I'm sure, many, many times. So it's just under, it's just under 4 minutes an end that you're given at the beginning. So as long as you've got 4 minutes left, you'd ideally like to have a little bit more time, especially if you don't have any timeouts. But
And that's a little bit, when the teams have those meetings between ends.
it's true.
And so that's your chance to sort out your plan so that you
Exactly.
don't have to hesitate too long on those
Exactly.
simpler shots on the first
Exactly.
few.
So Jill's looking for a couple. Well, interesting now. Colleen's not playing the chip shot.
She's
Which
looking for the come around
I'm
here.
shocked, yeah. Playing the come around.
You would
I know I watched Colleen, actually I think it was against Jill, and they did try the chip shot. I can't remember, but Colleen ended up just kind of turning it upside down on Jill and started lobbing them into the forefoot and then started guarding, which was, again, almost contrary to what you normally want to keep the forefoot open, do a lot of peeling. But because there were so many rocks already there, she kind of made a decision to flip and just started putting her own rocks in there, guarding, and Jill was the one that had no shot at the end of the day. So, and Kim didn't have to throw her last rock. Okay, one time out each, I'm told. Thanks.
Looking for the second center guard. I think her broom is beside there, but I think she's looking to have them overlapped a little.
Yeah, she would have liked a little more separation. That's a nice double peel situation right now, and also be made without running it back on.
Yeah.
I think Jill actually wanted it a little further over there to make a jam perhaps possible. So Colleen looks like she's just going to throw another blue one into the forefoot and just challenge Jill to have to deal with these in order to sit shot rock later in the end. Used to be an either-or strategy, but you either play the tick shot or you don't, and you come in. You don't see many people choosing to come around anymore. I was asking one of my other co-broadcaster people about it, and but I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. Definitely has the double, but her rock wouldn't be in what I would consider a scoreable position after that.
And might leave the hit and roll open.
Yeah. I mean, this is a double peel opportunity for Colleen. I fully expect her to walk out and put the broom down. So I think Jill's considering guarding that, you know. But then she, like I said the other night, and Colleen flipped it on her and said, that's okay, there's too many guards there now. I like the blues that I've got controlling the forefoot. And she might just, there we go, last time out for Jill's team. It's very interesting. We've lost all our fans. The only people left in the ice shed are the curlers and the officials.
Indicating just how cool it is out there,
indeed,
I think. There's certainly lots of people in behind us here.
Yeah.
And the downstairs bleachers were full when I came up earlier.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
So, discussion, it's
It is. So what are their options? Certainly their options would be to throw a nice long high center guard protecting this. The other option would be to, I wouldn't be playing a double on these, but to maybe push them back almost the shot that that kind of weight, the back 12, so that you could almost push and one so that they both move back a bit.
Right.
Leave your yellow rock out there. And not lose the chance to control that 4 foot a bit for Jill. I'm sure she has it in her mind from the other night where she left it the way Colleen did her played Jill missed her chance to take control of the 4 foot. This is a chance for Jill to take control of the 4 foot. I'm not crazy about going at it right now, but I'm sure she's got it on her mind what Colleen did to her the other night.
Yes.
So,
well, at some point, there can be so many rocks in there, it makes it very difficult to remove.
The night it was just, and it was all, it got to the point where Jill couldn't get control of the 4 foot, and Jill threw a shot that wasn't even there, like for her last one, and then of course Kim didn't have to throw her last one. So it got to the point where the skip's last 2 rocks were not even,
they were
not
irrelevant.
a factor. So it looks like, I don't know, this could be ice for a guard. It could be ice for a little jiggle. Stay tuned.
If she jiggles something around there and stays in the house.
Oh, yeah.
It could turn out.
I think it's time to push those. Sadly, the 2 yellows are, pretty vulnerable right now, but
without making a play on those 2 yellows are almost in Jill's way.
yeah, she loves them right now. She wouldn't want to lose them.
No.
Yeah. Looks like a lovely weight.
Sweepers on and off. They must like it.
Okay, so she wasn't trying to catch that back one at all. That's what she called great shot.
And it looks like that yellow could be raised still onto the blue, maybe?
Definitely, yeah. But these guys are going to be gone in about 8.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, Sheena throws nice weight. You should throw the out turn at that. Yeah, that's a great shot. 7.5 seconds.
Wow.
I stand corrected. Yeah.
That's a great change.
That's a gold star shot of it. And I mean, seriously, that could be the end-changing shot for sure.
If you got a little over anxious and missed your target a little bit, first thing you stuff it or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely such that Sheena can throw. You have more margin for error. Like you can hit two extra inches of the rock and still roll away with that kind of weight. I wonder how much of that decision that Jill made to come in the house when she did, as opposed to protect that against that double field, had to do with what strategy Colleen did with her the other night. Yeah, it's interesting.
I bet you it was a lesson learned consideration at least.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Jill would have been looking for a guard there. I didn't see the call, but I can't imagine.
Well,
Sheena's got a chance to really clean up this end by getting rid of 2 more yellows. Yeah, so that's
what a great patch.
4 rocks removed by Sheena in 2 shots.
A couple of nice sniper shots there.
Really,
wow.
really well done. And she just looks completely comfortable.
Yes, you didn't feel there was
No.
any hesitation.
Yeah.
It was, I'm going to get these out. So it looks
Yes,
like
that's she definitely deserves a gold star this end. Yeah, I'm going to award it already, regardless of the end's outcome.
And Aaron is looking for the freeze here, I think, or there's a conversation.
Yeah, so there's only 4 rocks left for each team. I don't know if she's throwing a guard or if she's going to kind of corner freeze that. The front 12-foot blue rock can behave still, so there's still protection for Jill. She needs to move this rock that's biting the top button. This is a good call. I like this call. Just a
Wow.
pistol. Yeah. Yeah, I can see Colleen jamming that back, yeah.
So she's hoping, of course, I think, to squirt the yellow out with the outcome of this.
She'd be happy to get rid of everything right
Everything,
now.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, even that one on the biting the top button, the yellow rocks become, so they could still move it back behind. She'd be happy to get rid of all three of those rocks and the shooters. So
Simplify the end.
yeah, I mean, then they're left with one at the back. You know, the back 8 foot to work with Jill's team. Number one mission is to get rid of the yellow, but she'd be happy to. So she's throwing the out turn too, over curl. That's what they did with Sheena's peel, that out turn over curl. Yeah, you would think that would be more of an in turn shot, but. It's important whether that's shot or not.
Oh boy, it's hard to see.
That's not exactly what she was looking for, Pam, but that's a good shot. You know, that's.
I almost think blue is shot.
It looks like blue from here, but yeah.
It's funny with
And
the
although
overhead.
that was not exactly what Colleen wanted, at this point in the end, if you could say, look, you know, you're on third, second shots, and this is what your house looks like, you're thrilled.
Yeah.
You're absolutely thrilled.
It's better than what she had before she threw.
Indeed.
You
Yeah,
know?
for sure. And I think it looks from our angle that blue is shot.
It's always hard to tell. On the overhead camera, the yellow ones always look bigger to
Yeah.
me. And Jill must think yellow is shot.
Blue. Okay, and people is shot. But so still smart call for Jill. So she's realizing that these two rocks that are behind the tee line, regardless of who shot, if she can get a nose hit on a guard right now that's in front of those, then she's got protection from the guard and protection from the rocks behind the tee line. So smart for her.
Looking for the straight peel here, I think.
Yep, just
And
a
away
straight
it
peel.
goes.
Yep.
Well played.
No, those do offer some protection for Jill. I mean, at the end of the day, if she ends up freezing down to those and is shot rock, she could force Kim to have to draw the 4 foot, right?
Yeah.
Or follow her down or throw some sort of draw, which mission accomplished for Jill. Kim would love to have a wide open if she's forced into some sort of a little more of a finesse shot. It's been an extraordinary game.
And after all the thinking and considering,
Yeah.
by the time that you have to be a little mentally fatigued.
You do. You definitely are. Yeah, for sure.
Aaron is weighing in on the final bit of
Yeah.
strategy here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of a point there really is. Straight old center guard is still an option. You know, you have to peel it. Not you know, you can't. You have to. If you hit and roll as a corner guard, then that's not a good shot either. I mean, it's unlikely that the peel would be missed, but
So she's looking to go top 12, just...
yeah, I like that call, which is basically sort of like guard, right?
little off center.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you want your skip to like this shot.
Yeah.
You want them to go down there and think,
Yeah,
yes.
and it'll be interesting to see what Kim and Colleen decide. Like, if this really curls off the center line, Kim has the option of drawing. If she's feeling like she's going to have to draw the
Kim may
4
as
foot
well
anyway,
practice
and this
it.
guard is off of the center line, Kim throws to the other side of the 4 foot, sits shot full 4. You know, like then the best Jill could do would be to hit and roll behind this guard, and then Kim's got the same draw that she just threw. So I would if they didn't consider Kim drawing to the open side of the 4 foot right now.
Would you ever consider drawing down to their yellow?
No, because I think that
That gives
if you did it,
them the
then they could do it.
advantage, right.
Like, anyway, they're going to hit and roll into the forfeit
Which
just
is
as
the
good.
same thing that you just...
The thing is, think of it, Pam. If you put a rock right on the forefoot right now, the thing is, I guess if you got to make it,
Right.
it's a bit risky because if you're short or if you're long, right? So yeah, I'm just predicting that Kim would make it perfect. Okay, I get it. This is a great call. She definitely wants to be shot rock after this. She'll to be able to draw around
Right.
her rock. So
Right,
she
you
wants,
don't want to have anything
she
hidden.
she wants to be shot rock.
We're not going to roll.
It's going to roll, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a real nice shot.
right to center line. Well, close to center line.
So we were given, somebody else's eyes did say that blue was shot because
Okay.
that's pretty important right now.
It
you
is.
know? Yeah. Or second shot, I mean. Yeah.
Right, if Jill was to roll away,
Yeah, well, even rolling in front of this, if blue is, I would have to be more careful with the way she took the blue one out. But
right.
so Jill's just looking to hit and flop to the broom side, looking for the only protection that's available to her right now, which are both of those stones back there. So it's a pretty wide open, completely opposite to what happened.
And yet two guards
night.
were thrown.
Yeah, two guards. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the intent certainly
And no
wasn't.
chip shots were played.
No,
You
no.
know, so
But a couple of doubles
yeah,
certainly
Sheena was an all-star.
changed the
Yeah.
flavor of the
Yeah.
end, yeah.
It's got some curling to do.
Sweeper's trying to catch the curl a little. A hit and roll, she stays
Yeah,
shot.
she's shot. It's in an interesting position, though, isn't it, Pam?
Sure is.
You can't jam it.
No. You have to roll if you're going to hit it.
Kim basically gets to play the same shot she just played, but
Yeah.
very well there.
Certainly, as the person who's throwing this rock, you want the other option, of course, would be the draw.
Yeah, and most popular choice in the 10th
In the 10th end, right.
when the slide path has been a little
Yeah.
bit vulnerable. And she just threw this, so they know the ice. She knows what kind of weight she wants to throw, and she can hit and roll out if blue, in fact, is
It's
shot.
shot,
Right?
that's right. Really hard. I hear from the ice.
Gosh, that's curling more than the last one.
Pretty good.
Oh, I don't know.
Wow.
Well, that's not quite the way they drew it up.
Oh, there was a moment of question there.
What a different path that took than the first one.
Yeah.
But what a great game. That was scary business there at the end. A real pleasure to watch these two teams play and to commentate with you, Pam.
It's been my thrill, believe
It's
me.
been really enjoyable. We get the front row center seats
The girls having a
for an
big hug.
incredibly entertaining game. So thanks to everybody at home, and I'll
Nancy, it's been a pleasure this evening, and Colleen Jones, Kim Kelly, and the front end gals have certainly pulled it together tonight, and we'll be going to the final tomorrow at 2:30. So tune in then. Also, the men's final is tomorrow at 9 a.m., and there will be commentary, and you could always come on down and see it live.
right up.
Wasn't it a good game?
Good job, you guys. You guys do a very good job.
Oh, well,
Yeah, it was a great game. It was exciting.
that was an education for me.